So, where we last left off, our party was stirring around in the ancient vault, got into a bit of a scuffle, fought some ruin hunters, managed to defeat the robots just in time for the actual boss of the arena to show up, a terrifying spectral figure, which the party managed to dissipate momentarily. Heading out of the vault with their newly acquired treasures, they scampered out into the open expanse and found that the dwarf party had been assailed, torn, and splintered apart, leaving only two damaged survivors, Brock Magmane and Lorek Blackmantle. Lorek himself seemed to be of a fragile mental state, so the two were escorted back to their campsite where you both said your final goodbyes. Heading back onto one of the offshoot tunnel roads leading to the Crucible, you managed to connect to one of the lampposts and managed to get a connection to society at large. Tried to get a ride from Uvon, but ended up being contacted by Neve. You reached out and she insisted that you wait to be picked up. So you waited some hours until eventually an armored APC arrived to sweep you off of your feet. Where we begin tonight's session, or today's session, considering it's 2:22 on the dot, you are in the belly of this beast, surrounded by armed and armored guards in the rolling confines, in the troop bay of this assembly. It continues to rumble, the lights flicker occasionally, and the slit windows at the top corners of the APC pass a light every now and then, shedding some thin veneer of sickly glow in this armored compartment.
Yarich is just focusing on a little task, slowly welding together a little piece he's been working on for the last few hours.
You're welding in the APC?
Well, he has specialized advanced tools, so I don't mind. He's not working on anything too delicate. He's just kind of staying to himself right now, kind of just lost in thought. His antenna twitching as he looks over his project as he slowly works on it.
I imagine while you are doing that, one of the armored guards kind of is just looking down and staring at you and your mechanical contraption. It's completely silent, weapon carried in one hand that he has kind of slung over his leg.
Yarich looks up and tries to smile as much as he can with his moth visage.
You don't see any emotion behind that mask.
The Yarich's antennas fold backwards, and as he just goes back to his work, putting back his goggles and just using glimmers of lights sparking off as he puts together his little piece.
I'm silently noting to myself how strange it is that such an escort has been arranged to pick us up with all this armor and armed guards.
Yeah, he eventually looks up and off, away, just through the little visor slits, kind of getting an idea of where you're going. For the most part, this ride is silent. There's not much of a briefing. You don't hear of Neve. You are rolling along silently in this cruiser. It was a long journey to get back to the Crucible, and it does take a matter of a few hours to drive out there. So, eventually you reach from the offshoot roads onto one of the main streets, and the difference that you can tell as the tires shift onto a more refined surface tells you immediately that you're on something that is well traversed, smooth, and efficient. You do hear the whirring engines of other vehicles, automated and manual, around you. You even catch the occasional revving of a motor from some fucking adrenaline junkie trying to test the military vehicle's patience.
So,
More minutes pass.
Here's a question. Is, have, Tim Tom and
Ankles?
Ankos, yes, for some reason his name escaped me there for a second. Have they, decorporealized yet?
Now that you mention it, unbeknownst to the most of the party, you start to notice a roiling mist building at your feet, kind of licking up on your knees. And you turn over to where Tim Tom and the detective were supposed to be and find naught but piles of shadow stuff dissipating into the confines of this compartment. The guards look startled immediately and are going like, "Well, what the hell?" and are, pulling up their weapons to kind of investigate. They're looking at the rest of you.
I'm just going to I'm just gonna say, relax. Better them than you.
What the hell is that supposed to mean? What do you know about this?
It's dark.
Cortland kind of holds up one of his hands. It happens to us sometimes. He was referring that it's luckier that we have to deal with this fate than you do.
Make his comment. And he kind of looks over towards his other friend. You know what we signed up for. Keep your mouth shut. We've been through shit like this before. And they both kind of look up and nod at each other. And you continue
Yari's
rumbling away.
antenna switches. What do you mean this?
The other one, the one that's been mostly talking, kind of shrugs a little bit. We're not a part of the Spire Guard, even though we wear their uniforms. We're a part of Neve's personal retinue. Her little hands out in the darkness.
And you're saying you've encountered events like what just happened before?
Well, I've seen a lot of creepy shit. Joe over there, he's seen even more. He's been here for a couple more years than I have.
Well, reckon it's not best to pry any further then.
At which point, the named guard Joe just kind of says, "Less you know, the better."
Yeah.
Honestly, I wish I could unlearn some things, but that's not happening.
Eventually, you hear the APC kick up onto another layer of road. There's a bit of a brief uprising, like you've just hit a small curb, and the vehicle continues to drive further and further. If anybody takes a peek out, they'll start to notice a few things, like passing buildings. It seems like you've reached the outskirts of the Crucible.
So, Yari's just going to take a moment to put his little creation down for a second, and he's going to look out the window, standing on his tippy toes. And as he looks out, sudden memories of what he experienced, all the screaming souls in his ears when he archived, just kind of flash as he looks at the buildings and is reminded of what was down there. Before, and he just slowly kind of crouches down.
I imagine that as you were looking out and you're just kind of trying to get a good look of the city, the sight that brings those memories to the fore is a burning building. The APC passes by what looks to be a roiling crowd of individuals, some of them screaming and pumping their fists, and a burning building can be seen in the distance. As far as you're aware, it looks like some kind of minor revolt has just occurred, and as soon as you pass by them, you see boundaries, girders, things that have rised out of the pavement like machines buried in the actual structure of the Crucible itself have risen up like barricades, and you see the flashing lights of Spire Guard vehicles containing this small site. Whenever you get to the outskirts, you start to see the dust drifting in the air, ash from the fire.
Yari just going to sit back down, softly panting before taking a deep breath, reaching down, and he's going to try and finish off his little project.
Which project are you referring to?
The little project that he been working on for 447. So
Did I
he's gonna
ask you
pull.
to make something? I don't remember
He's
if I.
gonna pull out a little bag, and he's gonna pull out something that 447 is going to recognize. A piece of Fractal's crystal.
I mean, unless
He-
you're showing it to me, I'm gonna say I'm not really paying attention to what you're doing because, like,
He is finishing this project on his own time.
yeah.
Yeah. And he's going to insert it into a little spot made for the crystal. And he's going to press a little button that just makes it start flashing up. And he's going to take it over to 447.
Yes, engineer. What do you want?
I've been thinking lately, and when we first met, I thought about remaking Fractal. I didn't see Fractal as anything possible other than just another thing in this world. But after interacting with you and learning of you and, well, souls in general, there's something it comes to my attention. There's more to this world than was. Yarich is going to look at his own hands. Was physically here. But, so, now that I've been thinking about this, I've come to a realization, even if I was able to reprogram Fractal to be like she once was, I don't know if she would be the same Fractal, even if the code was the same.
I kind of shake my head. I never asked you to try to bring her back. She's gone.
Well, I've come to realize that, so I made this as a memorial for her. He hands up the thing, and it looks similar to the little card that you would have Fractal plugged into, reminiscent of your old technology.
So it's like the empty data chit that I already have left over?
Similar, yes, but with a part of one of her crystals inside.
I'll, go on.
I'm sorry for making you feel weird about her when we first met. I didn't realize how much she meant to you.
I take this thing in my hand. What does it do?
It's just turns on and flashes like the data chip. It doesn't really read anything other than look good.
Well, I don't think we have anywhere safe to keep something like this.
Maybe not right now, but maybe some place we can find something. Somewhere where we can stay safe for a while.
Yeah, maybe so. Thank you, Eurich.
Alright, nods.
For the record, I, may have said some pretty harsh things when we first met, but I like to think we've, come to an understanding over these past few months.
Sorry, been months, hasn't it?
Yeah, guess so. And I reckon, given that you're the only one in our number who's at all apt with technology, I've got you to thank most directly for getting me thawed out. Never did properly say that, did I?
It's alright. Everything was just intense at the moment. We didn't even know if you were alive.
It's a miracle I am at all. You're not supposed to be able to last that long in stasis. The numbers I remember are a century at most. But
You're just going to sit beside 447 now.
guess that's neither here nor there. A lot of wasted years and nothing I can do to get them back.
Well, what you can do is we can do something now to make a difference in what happens. We've already made difference, maybe for the worse.
Trust me, I'm resolved to stop this conflict before it gets any further. I don't think there needs to be any more unnecessary loss of life based on treachery and manipulation. What happened at the terraforming platform was underhanded. There's no reason that these two powers are fighting one another outside of this grand design that we're not aware of.
Yarge nods.
And once we put an end to that, I think I do know what's next for me.
What would that be?
The Hallowed are still around. I'm gonna fix that problem.
Yarge kind of looks down, unsure what to say at this point, and just kind of remains in silence for a little bit.
Anyway, I take the thing that you put together. Not entirely sure what to make of this, but I'll try to keep it safe. It's not all that's left of her, but it's damn close.
Yeah. I just thought that if there's any way I could help you remember her, I probably should do something for you.
You know, your reach, I don't think I could ever forget. Even if there was nothing left of her at all. No way I could forget.
Yarge looks up, almost bright-eyed.
I don't know exactly how to put it in terms that you'd relate to, but what do you have left of your mentor?
Well, his teachings. He taught me a lot, and a lot of my... Well, actually, that got destroyed in the crash, so did that. Oh, my data pad I pull out, though it has been heavily repaired since then.
Even if it was gone, it wouldn't mean you never met him. Wouldn't mean he never taught you anything. Even if it turns out that he's beyond us, you're carrying him with you every day.
Yarge's head turns to the side bit. How so?
You said it yourself. Everything you know, he taught you.
Yarge nods softly. I think I see.
Good.
Yarge is going to look around the van to the guards and Karth and Baku.
There are some people who you're just never going to be able to let them go. Even good 1,000 years after they're already gone. There's bonds you make that you wouldn't be the same person had you never made them.
Is there any way to stop something from being taken from you?
What do you mean?
Everyone's been turning into dust rapidly. And I'm being...
Kinda shake my head, and even Aspect doesn't seem to know why this is. It just is. I think it's only a matter of time before each of us gets to experience that distinct little pleasure.
I've already experienced it several times, but one of them time I didn't even see anything, didn't even feel anything. It was terrifying.
I'm lucky enough that it hasn't happened to me yet. I don't know what the commonality is here. We know that if we get too far apart, we start to disintegrate. Physical distance is a surefire way to have that happen, but sometimes even when we are together, it's just beyond control. I don't know. I think there's a pattern to all of this, everything involving Aspect. There's a reason that her gift behaves the way it does, but it's far out of my expertise to put together the hows and whys.
What would happen if all of us just fade?
I don't know. Guess if we fade for long enough, the world moves on without us. Believe me, you reach. I know exactly what that's like.
I guess you do. You're just gonna give 447 a soft hug before just staying back.
My body tenses somewhat, but otherwise I don't stop you from doing that.
You're just gonna scratch at his exoskeleton that's flaking real hard.
I kind of look over at your flaking exoskeleton. You know, I think they make shampoo for that.
Oh, yeah. It's getting to molting time.
Yeah. It's not a problem I have. Believe it or not, there's not a long, luscious, flowing mane of hair under this helmet. Nothing but skin.
Well, I'm nothing but feathers.
I'm nothing but feathers myself. Also, you think with you being out for so long, you think you'd have hair growth by now. Did they do something to you?
Well, in cryostasis, you're in suspended animation. If my hair was growing, I also would have aged, but I didn't.
But surely your hair would have grown some since you've been out of stasis.
I haven't checked, and I don't feel it. Last time I took my helmet off seriously for long enough to notice was back at the terraforming platform. And I didn't think I had any noticeable growth then. I don't know. Neither here nor there, I guess. There's not exactly a regulating body to keep watch over my hairstyle anymore. I don't know what the fuck 202 has going on her scalp, but let me tell you, she did not have that haircut when we were active.
At least you know you can grow it.
It can. For whatever reason, the geneticist didn't see fit to completely remove the keratin in my scalp. Don't know why. Not like I need it.
I mean, it makes you more like your people.
Guess so. Might have been for the purposes of photo ops. Never did get too many of those. I think most of the pictures of me that exist, I'm wearing my helmet still. My old helmet. The one that I actually wore. Not this thing.
At which point, the APC hits another bump, and you get a sense that you were either taking some informal route or some expedited route straight to the core spire. More and more lights are flushing through the carapace.
As
and,
the APC jostle, I'm just gonna shake my head. I still need to get my damn armor back.
We will get it.
Yeah. Damn right we will.
One of the guards is getting antsy and kind of looks through the windows.
Is something wrong?
No, I'm just keeping an eye outside.
I'm sure you
How
saw.
long have you been gone?
I kind of think for a
3
moment.
days.
Few days at most.
Shit's been getting bad.
Yeah, we saw outside. This isn't exactly a nice neighborhood.
Whole city's in some kind of uproar. Not certain what the hell's going on with him. I'm hoping that she'll have some answers for us.
No kidding. She's been a little hard to reach as of late. Seems like any time we've tried to get a hold of her, we've been routed through her assistant instead. Not that I mind, her assistant's nice enough, but she's not the one calling the shots.
She's a very
She's
busy
not-
woman.
So it would seem.
And with that, the APC comes to a stop, and you start hearing the grinding of mechanisms in the crucible lifting this vehicle up onto another platform. Shouldn't be too long now. We're on the inner ring, maybe about 10 more minutes, and we'll be at the exterior of the spire.
I kind of lean back and let out a breath.
So, time continues to pass, and eventually, the APC starts to grind down to a very slow, crawling pace, and you start hearing the sounds of amplified voices, shouts of warning, telling crowds to disperse. For those of you that look outside the window, you see shining spotlights and walls, barricades put up. A spire guard are overseeing a checkpoint into the core spire, which is surrounded by a crowd of people with signs that are all pumping their hands and raising their voices to cry out against authority. As the APC approaches, you start hearing very dull because you're within the confines of this armored shell. Boom, boom, boom. And you see rattling casings diving into the crowd before a light gas begins to enshroud them. You hear coughing, screaming, once more a shout of dispersal, and you see the now in chaos crowd beginning to part like a wave around the incoming vehicle, which is crawling very slowly into the checkpoint in a deliberate fashion to not run over civilians.
So, as I'm watching this basically riot suppression going on, have I ever been, in my career under Concordia, been deployed to quell uprisings, or did I just fight against Hallowed?
Concordia had its fair share of rebellion. That was a big part of their culture, was rooting out the indecisive.
Huh.
So yeah, quashing rebellion in small teams is absolutely a part of your memo.
Alright, well in that case, I don't feel much remorse for this.
You need a united people, singular in purpose to fulfill your grand destiny after all.
I just kind of fucking shrug my shoulders and lean back and let the APC rumble on.
The thing that gets Yari, just particularly the screams. He is once again kind of in shell shock, thinking about.
It's pretty obvious to me that they're avoiding running the civilians over, right?
It's not that Yarich is afraid of them. It's more or less Yarich was traumatized by connecting to the ancient city and hearing the screams of the Dwarven's past. Is kind of in his forefront memory at the moment. So Yarich just kind of staying there, shivering slightly.
You good? Your reach?
Yarich's eyes kind of look around before starting to try to focus on you. Yeah, it's just when I connected to the terminal, I heard everyone in it.
What do you mean?
I heard the entire city, every person, everything, just next to me, screaming, wanting relief, wanting freedom. I think they were just me. Yeah, he just kind of crawling up as he thinks. So many.
I kind of tilt my head at your Reach's display of fear, and I kind of reluctantly, like, reach a hand out and put it on his shoulder. We're pretty far away from that now. We've got other problems.
Yarch nods. He's just slowing down and relaxing.
Once it seems like you're leveled out, I'm gonna take my hand off of your shoulder and place it back on my lap.
The APC comes to a final stop, and the two guards inside of the shell kind of nod their heads and make their way towards the exit door. They hit the lever and hear a hiss as the door lowers down into the platform that you all walked into this thing on, and they begin to disembark, calling out for the rest of you.
Looks like this is our stop. I'm gonna get up and disembark.
So,
Same.
Yep.
on the exterior of this checkpoint, you all are essentially in the gated confines, watched over by vehicles that are currently parked and sitting their turrets currently immobile, but their gunners at high attention. There are several Spire Guard waiting outside of the fence, which is see-through, mind you, and those that have dared persisted through this gas are currently being driven off by enforcers. And whilst this is all happening, you all start making your way towards the actual interior of the building, that way you can get to where you're going. And by the time that you hear, or rather reach the door, you all hear a singular gunshot, and the sounds of more screaming. You turn around and an enforcer drops dead.
Oh, fuck.
Hmm?
Oh.
At which point, there is hollering, bolstering of commands, and I would like the entire party to make a perception check.
Let's go for it. Alright, let me get my character sheet up, because for some reason I didn't have it open already.
Yeah, need to check so I didn't.
Wow, bad roll.
I have a +0, but I'm still making a perception check.
You did better than me.
Ah!
Got 21.
A
So, as the party is retreating, now kind of hurried by that sound of weapons fire, Vaku, you turn around and kind of catch an element. Time almost seems to slow down for you, and you see in the far back of the crowd, hidden by what almost seems to be a camouflage made of urban material, there is a dirty individual hiding under a camo cloak that is concealed with essentially trash and garbage, that is holding a rifle with a smoking barrel. And you see,
there's someone in the
just
crowd.
within the confines of the hood, two bright blue eyes. And at that point, one of the guards claps you by the shoulder and forces you all into the facility.
Yep, we're going.
Oh, fuck.
You all are
Sniper.
now alone inside of here.
I think I just saw 202.
My head whirls towards you.
I saw the sniper in the crowd. They were covered in like a ghillie suit of some sort, made for like urban warfare. I saw a pair of blue glowing eyes.
Could have been her. Could have been anyone who's on that drug.
I mean, it narrows down our list of suspects significantly.
No doubt.
So, you all are drawn further in, and you start to notice more and more people, rough-looking adventurers, individuals that are currently in Spire Guard uniforms, You head in through the lift and you kind of have to part two parties of two because the elevators are just that crowded. And you're having to squeeze in as you're making your way. But a 10-minute journey through very tall halls and different hallways trying to make your way towards this designated... What the fuck? Okay, Lane, I think that you're just kind of like occasionally bursting in with incredibly loud background noise.
Hang on, let me fix this.
I don't know if anybody else is getting that.
I heard something.
I heard that once.
So, there is a general flow to this minor crowd, and you all kind of pour into this meeting area. The ceilings are high enough that the room is still somewhat cooled, despite there being an almost cramped presence of armed individuals in this section. And it appears that there is a small stage. It's a very simple, not very well decorated area, a small meeting room within the confines of the core spire, meant for whatever gathering that Neve is taking place in. And all around you seem to be agents that this individual has collected upon her journey.
Agents.
Yeah. Individuals, adventurers, rough-looking people, acolytes, hooded individuals, tech specialists, guards.
We fit right in, you're saying?
Seems that she has brought in a crowd of like-minded and very similar in appearance to you all, of varying species, of varying affiliation.
I see.
At which point you all have to kind of gather and mingle. And once everybody has kind of gotten settled in, or at least whoever is going to show up has shown up, the clock ticks to the designated hour, and Neve steps onto the stage. Very small, very... It's not extravagant by any means. But the microphone picks up as she kind of crosses her arms and regards this small wave of people in front of her, no more than maybe 200 individuals. So for a moment, she regards each and every one of you, almost with a bit of a look of suspicion in her eyes, before she begins on this minor announcement. As you all may have noticed, but the microphone picks up as she kind of crosses her arms and regards this small wave of people in front of her, no more than maybe 200 individuals. So for a moment, she regards each and every one of you, almost with a bit of a look of suspicion in her eyes, before she begins on this minor announcement. As you all may have noticed, inner conflict has risen within the confines of the Crucible. Attacks are becoming a daily occurrence on the city streets, the events all linked by a conjoining factor. Each of these attacks have been perpetrated by individuals of a singular purpose, to destabilize our unity. And at which point she brings up, with a simple flick of the finger, you all knowing that she is a cyberly augmented individual, you start to see flickering holograms and hololithic panels coming to life and displaying what appear to be crowds kind of in uproar, singular individuals marked by bounty charts and wanted sections. At which points she continues. Evidence points to a newly forming cult in the depths of Castellum, fueled by the export of the highly addictive narcotic known as venom. And you see the display flicker from the wanted section. The individual's hood breaks down, and you see the half-shaven head of what appears to almost be a, for lack of a better term, a cultist. Tattoos kind of etch up around his neck of spiraling serpents, their teeth bared, and his eyes seem to be a dull black in color except for the iris, which are a bright, shining blue. Their motives remain yet unknown, What every conspiracy we vanquish puts a thorn in the side of those that plan above them. And the board flickers from the display of the cultist to a conjoining network of almost what appear to be events dotting the locations in strategic areas. This is very clearly a collaborative effort, and these strikes and attacks are not mere unrest. I am depending on you, my agents, to root out these saboteurs and traitors from our great empire and restore peace to this world. At which point you see all of the blinking lights blink until you see the remaining core spire healthy and free of this corruption. Upon leaving this meeting, you will find new objectives for each of you to fulfill. Good hunting, and good luck. At which point, the boards blink out around her, and she begins to make her way off stage. At which point you hear the crowd murmuring all around you, and the first and foremost, a very large human individual with like racks of grenades across his chest. Just kind of go like, cults? Did she say fucking cults? What evidence? What are they talking about? And all of the rest of the crowd is starting to talk about this shit, trying to get their bearings straight. This group of acolytes and some semblance of minor unity, it all being brought together for a singular purpose. They're all kind of trying to get an idea of how these events stitch together.
I'm going to cross my arms and say, just within earshot of my party, I knew we were onto something.
Yarch nods. Maybe. Would it be possible to make something that counteract the effects of Venom?
Not sure what good that would do unless you intend on releasing it as an airborne agent over the entire city.
It
Airborne
could have
agent,
side effects as well.
Too weak. And the large by probably already timbered with chemicals already in it. So it might create something bad or worse if I was to...
Just a few seconds after the briefing, and we're already talking about tampering with the water supply. I think we've lost the plot.
I was just trying to think of ways to calm people down without having to take them out.
Neve said that our new objectives have been disseminated to our comms, right?
Yeah, she specifically said upon leaving this meeting, you all will find new objectives for each of you to fulfill.
Got it.
Yarich is heading out
Yep,
with the others.
I'm gonna stand up and I guess get going.
At which point, as the rest of you start to pile out, along with the other few more antisocial acolytes, you make your way into the hallway, mostly kind of ahead of the crowd, and you find the assistant waiting for you, currently enshrouded in a hood, or low-key cybernetics kind of hidden behind most of the cloth and robes, and she goes, "Oh, hello, good to see you again, Deathless. Neve would like a personal meeting with you."
Sounds fantastic.
At which point she's going to begin walking.
I'm gonna follow her.
As will I.
I'll follow with everyone else, I guess.
So, you wander for a short deal, kind of going across this hallway and into a further subsection. Neve appears to kind of have her hands spread across a hollow board, a table with like a holographic projection showing bits of, if anybody wants to make a culture check.
I do not have that.
I have a bit of a culture.
I haven't fully put, I'll wait until I get some talking with some of my friends before putting a point there, but...
So a 10 is the minimum DC because it's hard not to hear of this place. The Crucible is the center of manufacture. Like, it is essentially the foundry for the world of Castellum. Neve's not looking at the Crucible. She's looking at Sanctuary, the capital of Castellum. More specifically, she has elevated the holographic lift up to the Lion's Crest, which is the home of the nobility and the residence of the king. At which point, as you all enter in, she simply brushes away the hologram and kind of clicks her hands together, still resting on the table. Deathless?
Neve, long time no see.
It has been a while, hasn't it? What have you all been up to? How have your goals fared?
Not well.
As
We were
go on.
attempting to acquire money as we tried explaining on before coming here. And we came across an ancient city that we splunked with some dwarves. Nearly everyone died, including us. We encountered both what was it? He looks up to Carthen. What was that thing called?
A Vildraven, Carthen's going to say, kind of looking up towards Neve.
At which point she is going to kind of narrow her eyes. Elaborate.
We were in a vault trying to recover a piece of technology, and the doors shut behind us, cutting us off from the dwarves. Automata rose up from inside the vault. We killed them, and and Carthen's gonna kind of take a second. A corrupted Vildraven melted through the vault door.
Isn't that interesting? You do know that there is a reason why we send heavily armed escorts to protect our expedition teams when we're exploring ruins, yes? The dead keep those places.
We found out the hard way.
In any case, if you do not mind, she is going to click the hollow table and you see a map, a world map of Castellum, just kind of appear up, and the 5 central cities kind of marked out distinctively on the board. Could you please point out the district that you visited so that I could maybe perform some more in-depth checks?
This one right over here.
Okay.
I imagine as you click it, the board accidentally drags with your claw, but you point out the place and she simply nods and quickly kind of tosses her hand out, and you see a small indicator appear where that section is before it vanishes once again. You all are needing wealth, yes?
Yeah.
We took that job so that we could try to get some, well, no other way to put it, narcotics to deal with so that we could get an audience with that man you want us to corner.
Very well then. Did you liberate anything from the ruins that you had visited?
Yarj is going to look up to Carthen, who has the bag. He does have the bag, yes.
Yeah. So our share, Carthen kind of sets onto the table. This was our take of the expedition.
She kind of like clicks her hands together, and you see these small, slender mechanical limbs take the bag and begin setting out these pieces, and she begins to verify their authenticity. If you have anything else to trade out for credits, now would be the time.
There are some items back in our rig that we could probably part with.
Then please bring them out.
How long of a walk is it to our rig from here?
It should be maybe a 10-minute jog. Most of the travel will be automated for you.
Alright, I'm going to get up and say if anyone wants to come with me. Now's the time, and I'm going to start heading for the door.
Yarj will go with 447.
All right.
But he will stop and say to Karth, sometime, do you think you could probably teach me more of these strange things sometime? I've been thinking that I'm going to have to know what we're dealing with if these things are going to keep escalating around us.
I'll teach you what I know, little moth.
Thank you. Yari heads out with 447.
So, you all begin to travel, and it quickly becomes apparent that the assistant is running with you, kind of hurriedly and a bit short of breath, not that used to running around, acting as essentially your all-access key. Whenever you take some of these lifts that lead you further into the facility, specifically to the hangar decks of the core spire where they keep the residents of most of the starships that make their way in and out of the central port, you find a welcoming sight, actually. It is the starship, the drop ship that you all had arrived in, currently being worked on. There are sparks glimmering from its engine cupolas. It is actively being worked on by a team of engineers and is currently being repainted.
Did I have my mic muted the whole time?
The doors are currently locked in an open position, and large assembling rigs, mechs designed for engineering rather than direct combat, are currently working, removing damaged sections of plate and old and rusted material. And you see, down next to the docks, surrounded by his personal retinue of fucking Stenham crest guards, is your familiar noble companion.
Zacharias.
You all approach, and he seems to bristle a little bit at that voice, as if he weren't expecting more individuals to deal with today. He's a bit tired, as he usually is. He turns around, and once he sees all of you, his face immediately goes from like that tired working day in, day out on his fucking, basically his whole life now, which is this starship, to this bright smile of surprise seeing old companions again. He kind of clasps his hands before extending them out and going, "Well, if it isn't the Deathless. Hey, it's been a while, hasn't it?"
I'm gonna grab his hand in a handshake. I trust.
He's gonna firmly shake it.
I trust the Spire Guard have been treating you well.
Oh, they've been more than accommodating. It's been quite a fun week, let me just say.
I bet. I kind of look over his shoulder towards the dropship, getting a little bit of a facelift on the old van.
Well, when you're abducted by an Inquisitor with her own goals and motives, it turns out having that wealth can be quite a boon. But it does come with some drawbacks.
What do you mean?
Being personally tethered to a servant of the Dominion is, in some ways, a service to the greater empire, but I was hoping for a bit more freedom in my escapades.
What does she have you tasked with?
At which point he kind of looks down, almost avoiding eyesight. A little bit of like pride surging in him, kind of bringing him to a little bit of a shame that he has to admit it. Well, I am tasked with being your personal escort.
Huh.
Alright.
That seems a little unfitting for a man of your station.
It is an honor to serve the greater interests of the Dominion.
Then hopefully a little safer than being on the ground like we are.
At least you take pride in your work. We came here
This is my father's legacy.
Kinda nod my head. Well, we won't bother you too long. Just dropped in to get some things of ours. Trying to make a little bit of money.
What have you all been doing?
Neve's had us running around, killing people.
Yeah, that makes sense for her.
We're about to go on another mission, and we need a little bit of scratch to acquire some bargaining chips.
Well, alright. Just keep in mind, Stuff in the rig is yours. Everything else,
I kind of
government property.
not nodding my head as he says this. I understand. Thank you, Zacharias. And I'm gonna move on and head inside the dropship.
Oh, by the way, they're starting the cosmetic retrofit. They're beginning to get the paint and decals on. So if we want to kind of like get together and decide an overall theme for our little cell, now would probably be a good time.
Could paint it flat gray for all I care.
That's boring.
Well, then I'll let you do the talking. You read. What do you want?
Could maybe use a phoenix.
I look at Vaku as he says this. Really?
I mean,
We
we do
don't
kind
die,
of
we-
come back.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of thought you were just indulging some narcissism there for a second.
No.
I mean, I could have said we should paint a super soldier on the front of it, but I didn't.
Am I a phoenix?
You're a bird.
You do
Well, not
come
all
back
birds are
after you die.
phoenixes.
You're probably the closest thing in this party to a phoenix. You're a bird and you come back after you die.
Well, does anyone else have a better suggestion?
I kind of just throw my hands up. Like I said, you all do what you want. Doesn't really matter to me what it looks like.
I've never been one to focus on details. Decals, rather.
I'm sorry, didn't you just say my suggestion was boring?
Yeah, but I don't really have much.
Oh, of course you don't.
So,
Alright.
so the official mark of our little group should be a phoenix. Anyone else object?
I cross my arms, clearly displeased, but not vocalizing it.
Zacharias is just gonna kind of like, our family bird was a hawk, so I kind of get that. Phoenix it is then. That being said, we are going to have some, I've set out on some like deathless text on the engine banks, so that should be pretty eye-catching. As for paint, slate gray, boring, sure, why not?
So, you're putting Deathless on the engine bank. That
Well,
might...
this is your quote-unquote mercenary company, right?
I reckon it is, but wouldn't that give people the impression the name of the ship is Deathless?
That is a good point. I've still not come up with a name for the damn thing.
I think we should try to come to that naturally. Let this old boat earn its name. Not try to contrive anything.
Screw it then. Some faction decals, Phoenix, Deathless. We'll leave the ship name for later.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Alright, you all get your shit.
That's the idea. So basically, once we're on the ship, I'm gonna go to our war rig, and I'm gonna try to find that EVA suit that we got from that crashed Imperium ship.
You dig down and attempt to find, where the fuck this thing is. Where did you keep it specifically?
I'm pretty sure
I
we
thought-
stored it on the war rig, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Inside the little container that we had for it.
Was it contained on anyone's character sheet?
It's not on mine.
I will double check and make sure that it's not on.
Like, I know we never sold the damn thing. We basically got that and then
I
just
think
fucking...
it's on Anko's sheet.
It might
It-
be.
I'm not seeing
It
it
is
on
not on
Anko's
Anko's sheet.
Did you write it down on something, Brian?
I did not have any involvement in actually fucking retrieving that thing.
So you all dig around until eventually you find the sealed crate, at which point you pop the seal and take out this rather clunky piece of apparel that's designed to fit over armor. Anything else?
I think, unless I'm
Are we
missing
sh-
something, that's the only thing I could get a hold of that that we should probably sell.
Are we sure we want to sell that?
Looks like it's worth a fair bit, and we do need the money.
We do need it. I'm just afraid of selling it and not having it.
It's a bit of a hoarder mentality, don't you think?
Just hold your breath if you need to go outside. Carthen's gonna kind of crack a smile.
Order?
Yeah. You know, living up to your eyeballs and a bunch of junk you don't need.
Yeah. Yarch is thinking for a second about all the stuff he's been collecting. His room's filled with pillowcases.
Carthen's gonna look at the bag that your reach has all of his scrap in.
Lord.
You still held on to all those pillowcases from that one fortress?
Maybe we could sell the pillowcases.
No.
No!
I am small. They make carrying things easier, okay?
How many do you really need?
And I have that one. Whenever I go on installation, I need a new one.
You know, Yarish, when we get a chance, we need to sit you down with a psychiatrist.
Sorry about that.
How come?
I don't know. I'm no expert, and I might be wrong, but it seems to me like you've got a problem.
I thought it was Tim Tom with the problem.
Oh, Tim Tom has a way bigger problem than you do, but you're the only
Not
person
exactly
I've ever
corporeal right now.
You're the only person I've ever known who just has 50 pillowcases laying around.
Well, they are nicely folded until I use them. Then they're stuffed with junk to be scrapped.
Regardless, unless there are any further objections, I think we should probably pawn off this EVA suit here.
All right.
Probably find better quality suits somewhere else anyway.
This thing was just languishing inside of a ship for who knows how long.
And nothing
I say
else.
totally ignorant to the irony of 447 letting that sentence leave his mouth.
If nothing else, if we need to use it sometime, I'm sure she would lend it out temporarily.
I'm willing to bet she's probably going to find a pawnbroker. I doubt this is going to be in her possession, but who knows?
True. Isn't it something that only goes into the shadow thing?
No idea. So I'm at this point looking over my person trying to find things to sell, and I realize I pretty much just got the brass tacks. I've got my weapons, ammo, armor, and that's really about it. If any of you have any personal effects you'd like to part with, I think now's a good time to try to get that sorted out.
Yarj is going to go to the big old buckets of food that we got from the dude.
You all get a sense that if you want to relieve yourself of some like inventory clutter, now would probably be a good time to do it.
Anything we've picked up throughout our travels is just taking up space. Lump it in and we'll get it sold off.
Okay, what random shit?
The ion tape is still useful. The micro goggles are useful.
Okay, calm unit. I have the little I have like that. I have some jewelry and like that fancy like formal dress thing from like the party that we went to.
Yeah.
I still have the sniper rifle that I can't fucking use.
If you recall your training to be able to use that.
Soon.
Eventually.
If you just
It's probably
fucking sell that sniper rifle, even though I've been fucking training you to use it, I don't know, dude.
I mean, I thought I was just gonna give it to you because you'd make better use out of it.
I've already got weapons.
So, you all get your shit and head back to Neve, who is kind of impatiently drumming her fingers, waiting for you all to get back, because you're just, like, sorting through your stuff and going, can I part with this? Can I part with this? But, you make it back and start to pile out your shit. Anybody parting with anything from their inventory?
I am not.
Karth is not.
So,
I don't really
Neither
have
is Yarich.
anything.
Aside from
Yarich.
the EVA suit, I think.
yeah. So you all get all of this shit and start putting it all down and just going, yes, some of my agents could make use of this. Some of it is definitely more useful than others. At which point, her cybernetic optics begin to register what equipment you guys currently have. Huh. There is an interesting wealth disparity between members of your party. Tell you what, I will take the assembled entourage and, bring some of you up to snuff and balance some of you out. How does that sound?
Fair.
Probably works.
At which point, the tendrils that are linked to cybernetic protrusions on her back are going to begin taking away these items. Before some quick mental calculations begin, and she sets down a credit sheet for each of you. You will find that all of your accumulative wealth has been registered up to 9,000 credits. You will have a number of pocket credits equal to whatever it brings you to 9,000.
And you just updated that, like, just now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I've got a hell of a lot more money now.
You can afford all of the ammunition you need now.
Yeah, after we fucking spend money synthesizing drugs.
No. God. So, your plan, you needed money for what?
So,
Sent
stop me if I get any of the details wrong, but we're essentially trying to get an audience with a big-time drug kingpin here in Crucible so that we can grill him over the manufacture of venom, yes?
Yes, you're going to the Serpent's Fang and are attempting to set up a meeting with Alton de Vondra.
In order to set up that meeting, we, as a group, primarily Tim Tom's idea, but he's no longer with us, decided that we were going to try to synthesize some narcotics to gain his attention.
And you wanted to spend your own pocket change for it.
We figured that we were supposed to get the job done using the resources we had at our disposal.
And that is definitely a characteristic of note among your trio. Well, among your quadrio, however many of you there are. However, this is a task of importance, and I have already distributed to you an amount of wealth, but for sake of expedience, I am going to give you a small deposit, whatever you need for the chemicals to assemble this gross cocktail to entrance de Vondra, I will personally pay for.
Gracious. So,
That being said, I would ask of all of you that you make this journey quick, to the point. There is something that I have not told any of you.
is that information you're willing to part with now?
Absolutely. After your business with Alton is concluded and we have the information that we need, you all are taking leave within your dropship and making way to Sanctuary.
The capital.
Indeed.
What's going on in Sanctuary that needs our attention?
Disturbing reports and cult activity. Something big is going on at the capital. Something that I think will accumulate at the Lion's Den, the Lion's Crest. We can discuss it more once you've fulfilled your current objective.
I think everything that's transpired as of late lines up pretty well with the correspondence we've sent you.
I would think so as well. And I do appreciate the regular updates.
We try. Alright. Well,
You all are useful. I would say that some of my acolytes seem to sip at the wealth as though they were special, but you all feel like you need to see these things through, and that initiative is useful.
well, we do have names to clear. There's more than just wealth writing on this.
You also have personal business to include, isn't that right?
Yarich nods.
Yeah.
Very well. Before we leave off today, and you all are going to be departed to your mission at the Serpent's Fang, I have one more gift to bestow upon you.
Kind of tilt my head up at this.
With your lack of manpower and the devastating battles that you've gone through recently, I've seen fit to requisition another of my agents.
Oh.
This individual is very skilled at manipulating and discovering the purpose of ancient technology, and I think you might find her toolset useful.
Well, I hope she knows what she's getting into.
She is going to click her comm bead and simply say, Jaira, could you please enter the room?
Eyes go wide.
If Aspect likes her, she might end up like us.
And that is a risk we must take.
A woman with dark skin and a black dress and yellow accents enters the room carrying a large staff. She stops with her feet shoulder-width apart, one arm behind her back and the staff pursed against her foot outstretched, and gives a curt nod to the party. Gentlemen.
Oh, hello there.
Jaira, you will be accompanying this party from now on, at least until I give you the clear.
Understood.
If you would all please introduce yourself to the newest member of your brigade.
447.
Baku.
Yarich.
Carthan.
Pleased to make your acquaintance.
Yeah.
Good to make your acquaintance too.
She just gives sort of curt nods to everyone who greets him. What was Yarich going to say?
Have you been briefed on what happens with us?
Has Jaira been briefed on this information?
Not very. Neve is notorious for keeping information to herself.
I'm afraid I'm quite in the dark about what you speak of here.
Well, if you're working with us, there's some things you need to know, but we can talk about that on the way out of here.
A pertinent thought, 447. You all should be on your way. I have other matters to attend to.
Thank you for the...
Let's mount up, get moving, figure out what our next step is.
Alright, we need to find something to enhance the... What was the drug that Tim Tom...
So
Suggested?
while your reach is going on like this, I'm gonna kind of try to chaperone the party out of the room.
We're heading... I was
Yeah.
doing it as we were heading out.
Yeah. So you all exit back into the hallway and find the assistant is already waiting for you. If you will, please go ahead and take this, and she hands you what appears to be a simple credit chip. You can use this as a means of purchasing the materials that you're needing. Don't go overboard, though.
We'll try and make it as basic as we need to, while being as potent.
Still needs to catch the fucker's attention.
Yes. Yes.
My point being, don't spend this on things that aren't mission pertinent.
We understand.
You won't have to worry about that.
She gives you a curt smile.
I'm curious about something. You just our handler, or do you deal with every party of adventurers that Neve has control over?
The tired sags under her eyes, just kind of like, mm-hmm.
You have my condolences.
At which point she immediately begins hurrying off to another place.
God.
You get a sense that
as she's running away, I'm just remembering that brief conversation I had with her saying, "Does Neve ever give you time off?" And she told me, "I get a day off."
But never said how, like, what period that day is.
Yeah. I kind of shake my head as she scampers away. Poor girl.
I don't envy her.
She probably works harder than Miss Neve.
I
As
believe it.
Carthan sort of lumbers down the hallway,
Not-
now being the largest party member.
Not to
Since
God.
Tom's not there.
Not to badmouth our employer, but if my time in Concordia taught me anything, it's that those beneath the boot are often the one doing the most lifting.
As you all are walking, Jaira takes her staff. You'll notice she's careful at where she points it. The staff retracts and she just clips it to her belt.
So,
just
hey,
keeping it out of the way.
as you're stowing away the staff, I'm taking like kind of a gander at it. Can I use Profession Soldier to try to identify what sort of weapon this is?
oh yeah,
I'm going to do that. Profession Soldier.
So good.
you actually, like, to your shock, recognize this. There are forms of archaic weaponry, and especially during your time, like, as a soldier that was fighting the Hollowed Cord, there were individuals that wielded weapons like this. They appeared to be staffs, and instead of being blunt instruments or melee weapons, they actually fire like firearms.
What's it?
You get a sense that this is some kind of plasma caster.
Oh, okay. So as I see Jaira gracefully spin this weapon around and stow it away, I'm going to comment, it's a pretty archaic piece you're carrying there. Plasma caster?
That's correct. And you're right about it being archaic. These usually don't have aiming systems on them, but I got a laser aiming module installed, infrared, so that I can see it. Not super accurate, but it's good within 100 meters.
Any reason you've chosen that over something a little more modern?
Let's just say it's family heirloom.
Carthan's gonna kind of look back at 447 after mentioning ancient weaponry, thinking about his gigantic club.
Your gigantic club that's made of, like, fucking mystical energy, right?
Mystical solar light.
I mean, I kind of have to give that one a pass.
And then Valkyrie kind of just whips out his own staff, try to like, yo, what's up?
Measure up.
Yep.
Cube up in law.
You
She
Throw
gives,
'em
she
out.
gives kind of a curt smirk at the staff weapon that Vaku's holding. I see I'm not the only one who chooses something similar.
Yeah.
Well, as long as he gets the
Decent
job
taste.
done, he'll get no.
It
I
serves
also
me
have a
well.
whip.
I mean, it's come. Baku's staff has come in handy several times.
I imagine as you pull out your whip and crack it, like, 4 guards immediately go like, "Whoo," and pull out their weapons and look towards the Deathless before
You know-
immediately going, "Fucking goddamn it," and putting their weapons back.
Chill, Vaku.
Something about discharging weapons in inappropriate environments. She just
Yeah,
kind of shakes her
look.
head a little bit.
I understand that little bit of negligent discharge there was not a good first impression, but believe me, we're good at our jobs.
I'd imagine you are if you were in Neve's employment. 447, you said your name was. There's some things you said you needed to inform me on.
Yeah. First and foremost, we're not called the Deathless for no reason. I don't know how much Neve told you, but when we
She likes to keep
Oh.
information on the down low, so to speak. So
Right.
I'm
well,
pretty ignorant.
if you see a bullet go through my head, that's not the end of me.
Okay.
And that goes for any of us.
So
Death is just a temporary state for us.
He's most of the time.
And the
So-
reason this is we have, shall we call her, a passenger. We're all bound together through an entity known as Aspect. She stitches us back together if we take too many hits. And you have questions already? The most important thing you need to know about Aspect is she's... I don't know if infectious is the right word, but it's all I can think of. Carthen here wasn't always in our merry little band. We met him on the road one day, and then about a week later he popped out of a bush, materialized out of thin air. Kind of like how we do when we come back. Aspect chose him, for lack of a better term. You need to know that if you're going with us, there's a very good chance Aspect will choose you, too.
Her eyes just kind of narrow. Can I make a mysticism check to see if I can pick up on what's going on here?
You absolutely can.
And that is the modifier is added to the 1d20,
If
correct?
you click your sheet, you can actually click that skill and roll it.
Wow, nice.
Oh, God.
Natural 20 for
Congrats, your first roll of the
Natural 20!
Your first roll of the campaign's a nat 20.
Oh, it's all downhill from here.
It's all
folks.
downhill from here.
My
What a way
first
to
roll
press
was a
in a
natural
new
20 as
character.
well. And it was a free Aspect.
Oh, God. He's been marked by God.
I hate you so much.
Nice.
Oh, boy.
So, I will give you a choice. Would you rather have this construct's true name, or its purpose, or a small tidbit about its history?
A small tidbit about its history sounds interesting and in line with the character.
So, there are devices from a period a long time ago, specifically during the precursor wars between the Hallowed Court and the Tenebrous Dominion with the Architects. It was a long forgotten war, but you delve in theories of ancient history. There was supposedly a device that came out of that war. A artificial being, so to say. And these things are capable of great acts of supernatural feats.
And what factions were this war between? Actually,
I'm
when you get a
debating
chance, can
about-
you send me this information?
I'm debating about just what to reveal here. I'm going to say, since you rolled a natural 20 on a mysticism check, I'll give you just a little bit more. During the Precursor Wars, as far as your family archive goes, you recall that the Hallowed Court and the Tenebrous Dominion actually began losing the war. And in an effort to not have both of their positions overtaken, they developed in consort, in secret, a super weapon to use against the Architects. And this thing is capable of wielding a flow over life and death.
Oh, shit. I never thought I'd come across something like this. I think it couldn't be, could it? I think what you have is a weapon of desperation created by two factions, Tenebrous Imperium and the Hallowed Court. I'm trying to remember. This being, it has the ability to, well, you of course know this now, based on what you've said, but it wields power over life and death itself. It's a super weapon.
Aspect is a weapon?
And Levi, this was made by both the Hallowed Court and the Tenebrous Imperium?
Yes.
It was a combined effort between the Hallowed Court and the Tenebrous Imperium in a war long ago to prevent them from losing it. Again, a weapon of desperation.
How could Aspect be used as a weapon?
I can take it. Can she answer this, or does she know?
No. You just know that creatures like this, fitting this description, are capable of immense feats of power over life and death.
She shakes her head. I don't know, but I know that creatures like this, they're capable of exercising immense power over life and death itself. And yes, I said creatures plural.
So Aspect isn't the only one of her kind.
She shakes her head. Not at all.
How do you feel about that aspect?
And you're telling
You don't get any response.
she was hallowed technology?
And Tenebris Imperium. It was a joint effort.
Yeah.
From
I
a
was
war
gonna-
long ago. Would she know how long ago exactly this was?
Not specifically, but around the realm of the Precursor War was definitely more than like... I would say it's a good maybe 2.5 millennium ago.
As far as I know, this war called the Precursor War was waged nearly 2 or so millennia ago, possibly more. We don't have exact dates, at least not that I can remember. This thing is certainly ancient.
How do you know this?
Let's just say the house I hail from has extensive information on these things. I hail from a family of technomancers, House Mortis.
So you're Dominion then.
She just kind of nods her head.
Alright.
I spent a great deal of time reading through our libraries. That's how I even know this in the first place. This is not something a lot of people would have any information on.
Well, this partnership was already proving to be very fruitful, at least for us. Now we know things we didn't.
Well, my entire purpose here is to assist you, so I'm glad I can... She just kind of just shrugs, be of assistance.
I shake my head.
Oh.
Regardless, if you know so much about Aspect, that means you must also know that you might end up carrying her too.
Yes, that is something I'm considering, and quite frankly, I'm not sure how I can prevent it. But I don't have anything else I'm really doing at the moment, so it's something I'm willing to deal with, even if it is quite a disturbing thought.
Maybe no way to prevent it. And in spite of Aspect apparently being some kind of hallowed court Imperium bioweapon, it is better to be able to take these kinds of hits as they go down. I've come to look at it as a blessing of sorts.
Well, nonetheless, I don't think I have a choice at this point. It's not really that I can tell Neve no, nor do I really want to.
Neve didn't warn you about this?
Again, she is pretty guarded with the information she lets fly around.
She definitely seems the type. Well,
Indeed.
as long as we've got you, we'll try to do what we can. Welcome to the team.
She just kind of curtly bows. Thank you. And I'll do what I can to assist all of you.
Well, as we're walking out of the... I don't know exactly what our destination is, but as we're walking away from the meeting point where we were, we've lost Tim Tom, and he was our, essentially, narcotics, medicine, biology expert, which means for our purposes, the next best guy is going to have to be Yarich. I don't think the rest of us know anything about chemicals.
I'm certainly not a chemist, so I won't be too much help here.
Would this be life science, medicine, or physical science?
Probably a choice between either physical science or medicine with kind of like a small negative modifier.
More in physical science.
Yeah.
Alright. So, well, what was the narcotic that Tim Tom wanted to improve on? Did anyone write it down?
I think Tim Tom wanted to fucking take Venom and beef it up. But that
Venom.
kind of seems like playing with fire, honestly.
It wasn't Venom, it was something else. It was one of his, eagle stuff.
Like he was going to make one of his supercharged guns.
Yeah. Uh. do. Does anyone actually have it written down?
I mean,
Does anyone actually have it written down?
I have notes, but I don't think I wrote down Tim Tom's specific plan.
So what do we plan on doing?
Alright.
I mean, I think we just stick to our initial plan of manufacturing some kind of fucking narcotic that can gain us an audience with this drug kingpin.
And what the moth is going to be your selected individual?
I guess so, because none of the rest of us know anything about fucking biochemistry.
All right, Tyler, what kind of fucking narcotic does a child want to make?
Alright. So, would Yarch have enough knowledge to recreate the dehydrating drug that Tim Tom uses on people, but make it in such a more pleasant way?
You can try to make a physical science check to determine if you have the knowledge for that, yes.
Alright. Here's my rule.
It's not bad.
28. That's actually amazing, considering, level 4 and all. You settle down and begin chalking down, and essentially you are attempting to make a euphoric mixture that causes individuals who take it to receive hallucinations.
Yes.
You mark down what kind of formula you would need, what specific chemicals and what mixtures, what devices and applications, the laboratory that you would have to set up in order to manufacture this. And once you have your list set up, and you all are basically just sitting in a hall while this moth is typing on his datapad and getting something assembled, a resemblance of a shopping list. And several people are walking by, and for the most part don't really care to check up on you. But there is a small cluster of white-robed scientists that are kind of just muttering and chatting to themselves about very specific theorems that apply to just kind of, in general, their topic of knowledge. One of them looks over and sees the list, kind of blinks a couple of times, and then continues walking like he hadn't witnessed it.
Nice.
Yeah, he doesn't notice. He's too focused on making the list.
The rest of you guys are just chilling out for about an hour while he
Pretty
gets this
much.
list completed, and then eventually raises up the display and shows the rest of the party of what you need to acquire.
Alright.
Alright, you reach. Looks like you did some good work here. We'll make it happen.
Let's get the list and order the materials.
So,
Gentlemen,
where do you mean to acquire pharmaceuticals and lab equipment?
Are there any facilities here we can borrow?
I was about to say, if
Do you
there are
want to ask?
scientists nearby, there should be a laboratory
Yeah, I mean,
nearby.
this is official fucking Dominion business. Like,
Yeah, we're working on something for them.
We're doing what we're doing to try to, in the service of Neve. Like, if they have an official, like, laboratory we
So-
can borrow.
Explain to me how you are going to go about this.
How are we gonna cook?
We
We're
could.
going to try to explain that we're on one of the missions that
To
Nivy.
who?
That's a good question.
I mean, maybe we can figure out where those fucking eggheads went, and see if we can find anyone there who's willing to lend us an ear.
It's been about an hour since that.
It's been about 10 minutes since they disappeared.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
we can probably try to figure out where they went.
Alright. We'll track them down and see if we can.
Alrighty, how do you want to track them down?
Were they perhaps following any signage in the building that might direct them to
So
a particular location?
you're not in a lobby. You're in one of the various halls that make up the central core spire, and it seems like they were heading towards the lift, trying to get to a different level.
You know what? There are guards here. Let's see if we can ask the guards, like, hey, if we wanted to find where the science team is, where would we go?
Alrighty, you approach the guards. Who is talking?
Good question.
I would say 447.
I have
Devin
no
has
diplomacy.
volunteered. He is
Okay.
already
Yeah.
walking forward.
I could chat with them. I have decent
Let's let Devin
vote.
handle this. He said he would try.
Two people can talk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
Vaku. I will happily accept Vaku's assistance since no one else
Yeah.
is stepping up to the
I'm
plate.
spec'd
You're
out for
also
like
fine.
speech stuff, so
So
I have a -1 in charisma.
the
so
three of you, Carthan, Vaku, and Jaira, approach a singular guard, and he is already getting nervous that three people have like just approached him. One of them huge.
Yeah.
hi. What's going on, buddy?
Yeah, hey.
Hey there, big guard.
Yeah.
What are you
Carthen-
up to?
Oh god, this this man is shorter than Karth. Karth is gonna look down at this fully armored individual. We're looking for one of the science laboratories. Can you point us?
He's gonna kind of like rub the back of his neck and just kind of go like, most of the laboratories are down in the sub-levels of the spire.
Right. Is there
Did
a
you take
specific
us there?
list we need to take to go there?
I can make it worth your while.
Why are you trying to bribe him?
The guard who is not wearing a helmet and has kind of like a half cape off to his side while he's holding his helmet in his like curled arm is already starting to like sweat and like, what are you? Make a diplomacy check.
What the fuck?
Which one of
We're
us?
on official business. Why the fuck are you bribing him?
Be whatever you want.
So 23, and he's just like, guards of the core spy aren't supposed to take bribes. And he kind of like looks up and just goes, what did you have in mind?
I don't know. What did you have in mind?
What are you fucking doing, Baku?
I just then go over to Baku and
No!
drag him away.
Kind of raises an eyebrow at this whole turn of
So-
events.
I
Without a
have
word-
a look of shock behind my visor that no one can
With-
see.
Without a word, Carthan's hand lands on Vaku's shoulder.
Yeah.
And even though the guard and possibly 447 cannot see, there is a very uncomfortable squeeze.
Okay. Never mind. Never mind.
What
Why
sublevel
did I
would you
do
suggest?
that?
What sublevel would you suggest? I apologize for my companion's behavior.
We are such creatures. What the fuck?
I don't know. Why did
on-
my brain
on
do
today's
that?
episode-
Are you trying to seduce that fucking guard, Sam?
On
I
today's
think
episode,
so.
A 38, a 38 on a D100, and lower is better. So this guy has a general knowledge of that area, which means that he's probably walked some of those halls. If you go down to, it should be subsection 17, which, if you don't know the structure of the way that the spire is labeled out, it goes positives in both regard, so you could go positive onto the surface levels and go upwards, or you can go down into the sub-levels, and it should be 17. I don't know which specific subset it should be. It's labeled A through D.
right. I appreciate your assistance.
Yeah,
Try-
no problem.
try-
Just, you all have a good day, and he's going to turn around and start walking.
So as soon as the
As-
guard is gone and we all form up,
Oh my
Vaku,
God.
what the
As-
fuck was that?
As Carthan, as the guard turns
don't
away,
No, I was
he just
trying to.
sees Carthan's eyes.
This guard is going to round
He was-
around one of the pillars, and from like 447's angle, he's going to start running his hands over his face. Did that just happen?
Vaku, we're on official business. We don't need to bribe the guards.
Whatever else.
I
you
don't
wish
have
to
any
do.
money.
Which means
I'm
you're
gonna
planning
kind of
to-
like look around. I'm gonna kind of look around, like, and hold my hands out, then lean in towards Vaku. Then what the fuck were you trying to bribe him with?
Jaira just kind of shakes her head. Yeah, that kind of makes your plan to bribe even worse. What, were you going to sell yourself to him? Somehow, I don't think he's into birds.
Carthen is moving towards
I
the
don't
lift.
know.
I think I'm going to
not
follow Carthen.
wasting
I-
his
I'm sorry,
time.
what the
It's
fuck do
time
you...
to move
What,
on.
what the fuck do you mean you don't have any money? Neve just paid us.
I need to lie down.
Jair is just gonna like come up next to Carthen as he's walking, and she's just going to just not even look over at him. She's just going to ask, "Is he always like this?"
Honey. Yes.
Our companions can be interesting
I'm
sometimes.
going to just stomp into the lift.
Well,
We
at least
all-
it means entertainment.
We all have our own quirks. Comes with the territory, I suppose.
She just kind of does an over-exaggerated head nod at this.
At any rate,
Good
subsection
grief.
17 should be our mark for finding a chemistry lab.
So, as you all go ahead and make your way onto the lift and begin grinding downward, the way that this actual thing is laid out, there are 3 different lifts in a kind of cylindrical room, and they're all in this sort of circle formation, so you could take either one of the 3 lifts. Some of them are already coming up, some of them are already going down, and they are big and industrial meant for large cargo and payloads and vehicles. You all take this down. You actually do have to sign in, basically check in with the individual who is running this lift and make sure that it's not, undergoing a priority moving of goods. And you all descend down further into the depths. It actually takes a good little bit because this is a very tall spire and you ascended about halfway up. So you're going down very slowly until you hit the ground level. Kind of silent, caught up within yourselves in the grinding gears of this giant facility.
Caught
Yeah,
up
I just-
within
there's kinda-
ourselves. I'm still reeling over the most recent social interaction that was attempted.
I don't know what the. I hadn't done anything in a while. I had an opportunity and I have horribly miscalculated my actions.
You nearly were murdered.
And not by the guard either.
Why did I start flirting with the guard? Why?
So, about 10 minutes pass as Vaku starts crying. And the doors, you eventually reach the central section of subsection 17. And you find, currently moving right now, is a very large humanoid construct. The most of you recognize it actually as a mech.
Cool.
This thing currently is stomping forward, and you can tell that this is industrial, militarized, because of the rifle that it has slung over its shoulder, and it is currently perched down on one knee, while a team of white-robed individuals, some of them definitely more engineers than researchers, are basically fucking around with its inner leg components, and you can
Now,
hear
did the white robes also include pointy hoods?
Some of them have pointy hoods, yes.
Holy shit. Anyway.
It kind of depends on what style they wanted, because, you get a sense that these things are probably kind of like their own sort of culty religion. But that's aside from the point. They're working on this guy's leg, and you can hear the almost thunderous voice of the noble inside of the suit going, "Yes, but when I am enduring a drop, I find that my leg actuators on the left side keep sticking. I mean, is there anything that you can scan for?" And the scientists are just kind of like, "Nope, we have to go through each individual component until we eventually find the one that sticks. You know this." And you all basically just kind of arrive at this level, and the sensor head of the mech swivels over towards the lift and goes, "Oh, new arrivals. Adventurers nonetheless." And the scientists kind of break for a moment as they're fucking with this mech's knee and turn over and see, "We don't get visitors of your sort on this level."
We're here on business from Neve. Can you point us towards one of the chemistry labs?
Figures that shadow would hang over our department. What do you intend to requisition?
And at this point, Carthen is going to kind of bump your reach forwards with his data pad and his shopping list.
Yai is going to point out that the equipment we need, and if we can need to buy any chemicals to replace the ones they have.
So you hand over the data slate, and this dude just kind of like starts looking over and is just like, Pentalana pole. Hypochondria? Why would you? Monothelable. That's lethal in certain doses.
It makes for, if you know how to combine it with the other chemicals, it can, from what I can tell, have a great effect. It's at least what our doctor has been using.
Using?
Using.
Well, yes, we've been currently using it as a sedative to make
Kind of
people
holds up my hand to stop you. You intend to manufacture narcotics in my lab?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought I'd see the day. I am going to have some rueful words with Neve after this. And he's going to kind of like throw up his hands, at which he starts to walk away, and the noble just goes, and he turns around, still with his hands up in the air. Right. At which point he looks over to the rest of you and simply slips a card off of his robe. This will get you access to my lab, and I find out that you've fooled or tricked me. We are going to have some rough words as well, and he's going to hand it off.
We'll make sure to use our safety goggles as Carthen takes it.
If you do not clean up afterwards, I swear to the non-existent divines.
This one makes Carthen raise an eyebrow as he is clearly garbed in religious robe. Right.
Look, Doctor, don't you and the science team have some work to attend to?
At which point the others are just like, calm down, Loken, we need to finish this. And he's just like, you're right. I'm getting a bit nervous.
This is for the greater good.
We've had this Inquisitor sitting on our backs for maybe a good month now, and it does not look like she is going to relent in her relentless sweeping and requisitioning. I'm just tired of it, you know?
We have been allotted with a budget with which we can repay you. You will be compensated if that is what you desire.
At least you have that. Sometimes she doesn't even bother with it.
Right. We'll leave you to your work, sir.
You have no idea the amount of tranquilizers I have had to mix recently.
So as we're leaving, I'm gonna look back up towards the mech they're working on, and then I'm gonna keep walking, and I'm just gonna say, I need to get me one of those.
We had a friend.
Yeah, but he was an autonomous creature. I want one.
So, you all continue. First of all, you have to walk through the engineering department, or rather by the engineering department because of the way that these buildings are sorted. Walking down the hallways, you see through what seem to be plated glass windows, armored in case something were to smash inside of them, or a vehicle or a box were to topple over. There is a lot of sizzling and welding and workshopping going on in these little chambers. Not little, they're massive.
Yari's eyes just slowly focus on it, his movement speed slowing down as he takes in these magnificent creations they're working on.
You look over and you see what appear to be just like ranks and ranks of different tables and different projects, handmade creation, custom tooled weapons and equipment, vehicles being assembled via a conveyor and robotic arms building new vehicles for what is basically the war effort. And you get a sense that based on the layout of this spire, you are on the outskirts, and if you were to ascend a few levels, you would be directly in the engineering district, which is the heart of manufacture for an entire planet. It is very hard to describe just how monumental these contraptions and facilities are for basically making equipment, requisitioning vehicles and war mechs from materials that have been imported to this place. It is a hive, for lack of a better word. And you're
So-
basically on the outside of it.
So Yari stops for a moment before shaking his head. Nope. Gotta focus on making the chemicals. Gotta focus on making the car.
Just kind of like nervously eyes the engineering department as you pass it.
Gentlemen, we cook.
We cook.
We could.
You make it to another section. This one kind of kept a little bit further away. You make it through a section that appears to be like a clean room sweeping. There are a few personnel guards that look a bit more lazy than usual because there's not much excitement to be had in terms of criminal activity this deep in the core spire. People that are stationed in here have pretty cushy jobs. They give you a small security sweep, clear that you're not bringing anything nefarious into this section of the facility. Give you a quick clean, which is essentially dealt through a small chamber that is filled with laser grids and fucking microbial mist sprays. At which point, after you all shake off this bit of water that has been sprayed onto you, you are welcomed into a pristine and sterile facility. Small teams, much more quiet than usual, just kind of lining these tables. They're all working very silently, working with very delicate chemical mixtures, and you find that there is a workstation in the far end that is currently absent that you can utilize.
We head over to the works. Yari heads over to workstation, and he begins pulling out the exact names of the chemicals that we're going to be needing for this, and gets to work.
So, I imagine that Yarich will take the central stand here, and he will be basically incorporating all of this, whereas the party is going to go out and get all of these different materials for him as he's mixing this stuff.
Because the rest of us don't know what the fuck we're doing.
We are the gophers today.
So, I will say, each of you make some kind of check for me in some manner to try and find one of these chemicals that Yarich is attempting to find. And based on the relative successes, he will get a cumulative bonus to try and make a much better product, or cumulative negatives depending on how many they fail.
So finding the chemicals, are we just looking around the lab or something?
If that's what you wish.
I think Jaira's
we
gonna
need
try.
to order them. I'm sure there's a way to order the chemicals.
Jaira's gonna see if she can access a computer and find an inventory with images that show what you need to get. So
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
Give me your
Computer's check?
computer's check.
Sweet. Oh,
Hmm?
You,
second roll is a natural one. Okay.
you file through and look through your data slate, just kind of picking through the inventory of this area. I should mention, I didn't add it to your inventory. You have a tier 0 computer that is just a personal comm unit that is essentially a cell phone. And you're going through the various local datasphere entries, which are essentially ordering lists. And you eventually find the chemicals that you're looking for, and click the buttons and select the specific quantities. And all that time you are not realizing that you're actually ordering for the next shipment manifest, like the trucks that they're going to bring in. And you're basically just tacking a 1 onto the end, which is going to frustrate some truck driver that he has to deliver a pallet with a single vial of medicine onto it.
Oh no. And she has no idea what she's doing, and she has no idea she's done this.
Who's next?
So, alright, so
can
we're all
I-
looking for different chemicals.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kind of snoop around the entire like certain parts of the facility to where I think the chemicals might be at.
Alright, give me a perception check.
Perception.
Man,
Alrighty.
this is gonna go great.
You look around and kind of browse through these various different sections and kind of finding all of these different vials with different names. Some of them have names that aren't written in common. They're written with weird letters that are kind of bent in ways that you don't recognize in typical common, and you get a sense that it is this kind of mixed dialect where the languages intertwine because they descend from an original root heritage, but kind of branch off in weird and interesting ways. And you get kind of lost in exploring these different names. Some of them even sound funny. Who wants to go next?
Can I try to take some of these without anyone noticing?
Yeah, sure. Give me a sleight of hand check. A 12. I will roll a scientist check.
Oh, great.
No,
Scientist
I'm-
check.
I'm with the science team.
Oh, great. Here we go.
Whoa.
Oh.
Well,
Okay.
I'm with the science team.
I imagine
the science team's about to kick your ass.
as you all, or just not you all, as you are picking through and finding the funny ones and just kind of pocketing them whenever no one's looking, eventually you kind of slide and turn around to go and, reunite with your party in this very slick maneuver and bump into, like, the tallest man of science that you have ever
Man of
seen.
science.
He has this
The science team!
He has a broom of a mustache and is just kind of like staring down at you with thick rimmed glasses.
With the science team.
You're bluffing and saying you're with the science team. Oh. Maybe.
He just kind of like blows up his mustache just a little bit before he walks away and goes back to his station.
Wow, that worked.
Jesus Christ.
I'm with the science team.
So you find a bunch of different vials with funny names. Who would like to try next?
I would like to ask if during my search, can I take note of what Jaira is doing and attempt a perception check to, like, catch on that she's fucking up?
Are you wanting to do that instead of look for chemicals, or?
I think Jaira had a really good idea, and if she succeeds, it'll probably be better than what I could do. So yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Give me, I wouldn't say perception. It'd be more like either your choice of computers to tell that she's on the wrong website, or sense motive to deduct that maybe she's not, like, thinking clearly with this specific reasoning.
Ah, shit. Okay, well, I have 0 in both of those. I was hoping it'd be perception. Fuck.
I mean, that'd be to pick up, like, subtle details in the environment, not sensing that something's gone, like, wrong.
Yeah. I think I'll risk it and roll sense motive, even though I have it's just a flat D20 for me. Oh, hey.
Nice.
An 18. By the end that Jaira has, like, been through her list and just kind of hits the order entry, you realize that something has gone wrong.
Do I know the exact nature of what she did wrong here? Like,
Yeah, you peek over her shoulder and you realize, like, that's the shipping manifest.
Jaira, that's not an inventory, that's a shipping manifest.
She just kind of squints and like flicks up and down through the page on this piece of shit tier 0 cell phone and just kind of grunts angrily. This is why I hate using fucking cell phones to do anything on computers.
Nope.
She's just kind of frustrated at this point.
Fair enough. What do you want to do to try and attempt to look for this specific chemical cocktail?
Oh, she's gonna try and, or is that
We're talking
447?
about Brian. 447.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I was hoping that what I just did would give Jaira another chance to actually, like, use her decent computer's check to fucking check the inventory.
I'll say that, like, we've already had Jaira's attempt roll the natural 1. Do you have a skill that you want to try and look for this chemical stuff,
I mean, the
or
best I've got is perception.
give me a perception check?
All right.
You look around, and eventually you find a single bottle. You're not really certain what it is. Some science geek has left this bottle unmarked.
This is, if it's an unmarked bottle, then I can't really do anything with that. It's fucking not on the list.
Fair enough.
I thought I was doing my sense motive in place of actually looking for a chemical, though.
I thought that you were doing that to try and correct Jaira's thing.
Yes. But I thought you said I had the choice of either doing that or looking.
Very well then. I will say, if you want to forfeit looking for an actual chemical, then yes, I will let Jaira re-roll the computer's check.
Because, I mean, I told her she was on the wrong page, so she'd probably be able to...
Yeah, if you're forfeiting your action,
Yes.
sure, why not?
Well, let's see if we can get it right this time.
Eventually, a custodian comes down with a small selection of requisite materials because you actually order from the specific hub that is for requesting a specific complement from storage. So, with all of that said, Devin, do you want to attempt to look for chemicals?
Carthen is going to attempt to locate the equipment that your reach is going to need.
Sure.
Would you like perception for that, Levi?
Any skill that you would like to try and utilize. If you can think of some funny way to utilize it, I'm all ears.
Athletics. He's going to run through the entire lab.
Oh god, give me an athletics check.
All right.
13. You just start like running through and just kind of like looking, eyes on the vials, marching through this lab until eventually like a pair of individuals are just like, hold on, please just stop running.
No!
What is wrong with you?
Stop!
I am working with a very sensitive compound here, and any slight vibration might cause it to go off. What do you need?
And Carthen is going to fumble out this this list of like apparatuses that your reach is going to need to
make meth.
Yeah, we're looking for a few reactor vessels. You know,
Make a diplomacy check.
I can do that. Hey,
That's good.
This dude just kind of like so perturbed by your reckless abandon while running throughout the facility, just kind of like starts tink, 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 taking up stuff, tubing, just kind of wrapping it around and hands it all off to you in a big bundle and just goes, please just go and sit down.
thank you, kind sir. And Carthen is going to
Run.
walk away.
Thank you,
with
kind
Gold.
sir.
Finally, a good roll!
Oh my god. Shenanigans.
So, Yarich, you find in front of you a slew of lab material that Carthen has brought you. A handful. Are you putting down the strange, funny name of vials, Vaku?
Yeah, I'm just gonna hand them to
Yeah, you put
Mysterious
them
vials
down.
labeled in a language that is not common.
Yeah, you put down like a slew of vials on the table, a mix of assorted materials, and the actual the correct stuff, all set down on the table in front of you. This will be a 3-part process. So in the beginning stages, make a physical science check for me.
what me?
Right.
This is for the moth.
Is
Yeah,
there a
Yarich.
possibility for us to assist Levi?
Oh, no. I'm not allowing that.
I'm not allowing.
He's not allowing that.
I shall use my, where is it? Feats,
Oh my god.
Memory module.
Rerolling a skill check out of combat.
Yes.
Do so.
All right, come on, Lord.
Come on, Lord, help
And
me make
it-
math.
An 18.
The holy blessed
You-
meth.
You reach for one of these funny named chemical mixtures, and something in your brain clicks, and some cyberware cycles through different data slats until eventually you realize you need to start with the base. So you get a specific amount of this chemical mixture and start setting up your contraptions, filling beakers, getting water ready for boil, getting the burners ready. And you start basically setting up this different stuff. And as you come into the second stage, adding in the specific mixtures and the correct measurements, can you make a medicine check for me?
Oh, yeah. That can be done.
Oh
easily.
yeah.
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 An 18. You go ahead and get this stuff set up, measure out the proper amounts and implements, add them in, and eventually, as this stuff is starting to process and cycle, it begins to funnel through the tubes into different beakers, dispersing into gas and reforming, condensating into different liquid. All of these different admixtures forming into one cohesive mess. Can I give you, or can you give me a, let's say a dexterity check to try and appropriately collect this material? That or acrobatics, if you will, because it is also a precise control of someone's movements.
Can do.
Dexterity or acrobatics, your choice.
I'll use acrobat. I have just a little bit higher than that.
16. You carefully hold out the vial and begin collecting this liquid and begin measuring it manually, making sure that the contents are properly mixed. And then once you have a sufficient amount of the material, you begin packing it away into a select amount of vials, which are packaged into a small box of your choosing. It can be like a little small case, if you will.
Small case.
You go ahead and
With
you get this stuff ready, nice and packed away, flip the clips, and lock your case. And now you have some medicinal grade pharmaceuticals with maybe a bit of something special because of the funny chemicals.
Oh,
Nice.
Special.
Gentlemen, we cook.
We have cooked, gentlemen.
With this, Yari's just going to begin putting things up and making sure everything is properly replaced. And using the amount of credits that we need to replace the chemicals.
Jaira just raises an eyebrow and just simply says, "If my family saw me now."
The rest of the
I
science
used to be in a
department
military. A real
The-
military.
the rest of the science department is like staring.
Alright.
Like this team of unwashed individuals has just stumbled into this lab as now manufacturing narcotics.
No, we have manufactured narcotics and we are preparing to leave.
So
And we have explained nothing to them. So, yeah.
Break into a laboratory. Make a bunch of drugs.
We
refuse to
didn't break into
elaborate,
a laboratory.
Leave.
We didn't break into it. We were invited into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the key card, right?
You do have the key card.
Yeah. So, yep, Karth is gonna like help clean the glass and the apparatuses and put it away as neatly as possible.
Fair enough. So as all of you guys spend some time getting this stuff all nice and packed away, the individual that you borrowed the key card from stumbles back in and is just like, "Alright, let's see what you miscreants are up to." And he looks over towards the station and goes, "Well, color me pleasantly surprised. Hell, you even covered the bill for the extra stuff that I'd have to replace."
Said we would.
Huh.
Yari
Huh.
is going to hold up one of the vials. Here's what we've made.
Kind of holds it in his hands. What is it?
I believe it's going to Yari just going to list off what we've used and say that thanks to my friends, we were able to get the chemicals together.
Have
And-
you given the mixture a name yet?
I think mothball.
Mothball?
No.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh, Jesus.
I think mothball sounds good.
That's awesome.
Mothball, then.
I'm gonna hand the vial carefully back to you.
Gently put back into the foam case where the other vials are.
All right, well, yeah, I was thinking that I was going to be disappointed. I am actually pleasantly surprised. I didn't think individuals of your status would be able to keep your hands off of stuff.
Baku.
Well,
Huh?
we try to hold ourselves to a high esteem. Try to.
As soon as he says that, I'm just gonna be like getting a little handsy with the random things in the room.
As you say that, or as he says that, you just kind of like casually swipe a beaker of something and put it in your bag.
A beaker of something.
Not sure what it is. You're not a doctor.
Thank you for allowing us to use your facilities, Doctor.
Yes.
Well, we'll head out now. Here's your card. Yari
Takes it
hands up the
gladly.
card on his tiptoes.
Let me get the door for you. You can't get in or out without it. And he goes
Oh, right,
over
right,
and
right.
clicks it, and you hear the door unlock. You all proceed through the sterilizing chamber before heading back out.
Yep.
All right, we cook.
We cook.
So
We
you
could.
head back into the lift. The noble and the team that were all basically just kind of like nursing this wounded knee actuator are all gone. You get back into the lift and ascend up to the exit platform, the place that you came out on. So, how do you all want to leave this facility?
Oh boy.
That's gonna be a problem.
Well, considering that the exit to the facility is currently occupied by rioters,
I think there's only one option. War rig.
I don't know. The city streets are a little too narrow to drive that thing effectively.
Fair enough, fair enough.
The war rig was more meant for rough and tumble off-roading rather than city driving. We have to find
What do you
our way.
reckon?
We have to find our way out of this facility somehow, and then we're going to find a way to get in contact with this kingpin.
We'll be sure to give him a good taste of medicine as I whip out the mysterious beaker.
What the hell is that, Baku?
Oh, just a little something I picked up from the lab.
But what is it?
Let me look at it. Is there any sort of check I'd make to determine what the fuck this is?
Are you trained in physical science or maybe
I'm-
medicine?
I have some points in medicine.
Well, I was actually going to say it was something else, but you can make that check too if you wish.
Yeah.
You have no idea what this is.
Hey, Rich, what is this?
Yari's just gonna look at it.
Is there a label on this like beaker that Vaku is just flagrantly brandishing now?
There is no specific label. It looks like it was an unfinished product that was being concocted on one of the desks. One of the scientists had taken a bathroom break while it was being swiped. If you want, are you handing this off to the moth?
Yeah, let's give it a Yarich, see what he can do with it.
Yeah, you take a good look at it. You can give me a medicine check or a mysticism check.
I have nothing in mysticism, so
Medicine it is.
You deduce that this is a hybrid admixture. It is known as a serum of healing.
Ooh.
So basically, as a standard action, you can imbibe this beaker, which is sealed. It is about, I would say, maybe a little bit more than 2 or so ounces. It's in a small little beaker. But if you were to drink it, it will restore you 1d8 hit points.
Nice.
You managed to find a serum of healing.
Wow.
Yari just going to gently swirl the pink liquid, I presume.
Yeah, it's about pink.
Yeah. It seems like this thing was still in a production phase, so it probably would have even been stronger if we let them work on it.
I mean, you can work on it, can't you? You're one of
Maybe.
those scientist whizzes.
Maybe if I had access to the facility we just left.
We didn't leave them on bad terms. We may be able to come back later.
And maybe return this to the proper person.
The
Yari's just gonna put this in one of his concealed compartments.
Oh, he is taking your serum of healing, Vaku.
You're
Sam?
Sandman the Epic?
You say that and fucking Matt starts typing
Yeah.
in TTRPGs. Stop that.
How do you like my meme I made?
Yeah. What the fuck? Yeah, where did Sam go?
I love science. Good lord.
I'm on the science team.
I tried to find a scientist soy jack. That was the best I could find.
What
so
the fuck? Just, I love
I
science.
heart science.
Oh god, it's an anatomically correct heart. I didn't notice that before now.
These Seccaro memes are getting, like, more and more intense.
We're being radicalized in the campaign.
I still think my favorite Seccaro meme is 447 watching Carthan eat Ankos' severed leg.
I still think my favorite is my character or my server profile that's just anything alive and Carthan.
I like the one that Sam posted that was just the fucking, like, monster hunter Drake being surrounded by explosives before he wakes up. Because that was the plan.
I mean, there's also Vaku looking at the pink blob.
Yeah, that's also good.
I am going to get some water, I think. I'll be back.
Sounds like it is break time.
Yeah, I guess I'll pause the recording for the time being.
So,
Shit.
whilst you guys are getting ready to prepare to leave this place. So, what did you guys have planned specifically?
Well, we got the drugs. Now we need to get in contact with the Kingpin. Somehow. But
So true.
we also need to get out of the Spire, which apparently is going to be a challenge in and of itself.
Alright, so you all, whilst kind of gathering around, do end up getting a call message.
Okay.
It is from Zacharias, in fact.
Oh shit.
Conveniently.
What does he have to say?
So, the message basically says that I've been alerted that you all are getting ready to make your exit from this place. And it further goes on to read that if you need any assistance getting to and from locations within the Crucible, I can be of some assistance.
Shit, okay. So, we still have to figure out where exactly we're going.
You guys do have a location.
Yeah. I unfortunately did not write that down, but she did give us a specific location.
So
So-
the Serpent's Fangs.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, down in the third ring of the Crucible, because these cities are structured via kind of like ring assembles or assemblies. There is a nightclub called the Serpent's Fang, and that is supposedly where Alton Devambra makes his home. That is his base of operations for his drug smuggling operation.
Okay, well then let's go talk to Zacharias about getting to the Serpent's Fang.
You all make your way back up to the hangar deck and eventually find yourself, Zacharias is not hanging around the bottom of the ship, but you do see him near the boarding ramp. So you have to enter on board the dropship, and once you've made your acquaintance again, he kind of still holding a data pad and clearing out some transaction logs, looks up from it and goes, "You all ready to go?"
About as ready as we can be. Are we taking the dropship or what's going on?
Yes, we've been cleared for short-term maneuvers within the space of the Crucible. This vessel is apparently small enough that it can clear some of the raised platforms and landings without causing too much of a ruckus. And with the clearance that we have, we can basically go anywhere we want.
Sounds a hell of a lot easier than trying to fight our way through the riot.
I assume Neve got tired of the slow pace and the lack of transportation that the Deathless are going through, that we were going through.
Right. Well, in that case, we can launch as soon as you're ready.
It'll just take a moment to get the crew all warmed and spooled up.
Alright, do what you gotta do.
He leaves, heading further within the complex of his dropship. Where are you all waiting?
I'm going to begin looking for an area to actually start the construction. Maybe not today, but find a spot where I can start construction of my sand globe theme.
Your sand globe thing? Your sand pool?
Globe. Sample, yes.
I see. Keeping in mind that you've recently acquired the materials to finish construction of your drone.
Oh, yes, I need to start marking out the first plans of that, actually.
You've made with the plans, it's just down to assembly now.
Oh, right.
Remember, you've taken the time to essentially sketch out what this drone's basic frame will be like. Then you had a second check for determining basically how it would all come together. And now that you have your plan, you had to gather your materials. Your expedition with the Ruin Hunters has provided you enough materials to finally finish it.
Alright, with that, I'll actually start construction while we're getting ready.
Give me an engineering check. You set down with the requisite materials and begin just kind of assembling and putting together these various bits and bobs. You get to the frame, at which point you start attaching the specific rotors and the designs and functions that allow it to adeptly maneuver, making certain that you select only the pieces of most quality that could provide a quiet rotocopter, very small drone. You get about a quarter of the way through construction whenever the engines kick on, and the resulting rumble of the dropship makes it kind of hard to work with this technology.
Alright, at this point, I'm going to put it on pause until later.
I think while we're on board, I'm gonna get Jaira acquainted with the living situation. Because we do have, like, capsules that we sleep in, basically.
Yeah, you've got small pod rooms that hold 2 people each.
Yeah. And at the current moment, there is one completely empty, because both Ankos and Uvan are nowhere to be found. Yurich has one to himself, and Karth has one to himself. So, fucking Jaira basically gets her pick between those 3 situations.
She's gonna pick. And it really doesn't matter to her. She just kind of comments, not the most luxurious place that I've had the pleasure of sleeping in, but I can't really complain. These other party members you've spoken of, what was his name? Tom?
Timothy Thomas, or Doctor.
And then the others where are they exactly? Are they in some state of flux, or?
Well, the way I've heard it, when you're carrying aspect, there's a chance you'll decorporealize, to put it in terms I could hope you'd understand.
I think I understand what you're getting at. Are they conscious, aware, anything like that?
They can be. Not always, but sometimes they are.
It's absolutely
I've
fascinating
heard
and
it likened.
horrifying,
I've
but
heard it likened to either sleeping or just being a ghost, able to perceive and notice things about your environment, but completely unable to interact. It's between those two.
do we know what causes it or what triggers it?
Not really. We know that if we
Oh,
get too far apart, we will decorporealize. But sometimes, even when we are together, some of us will just cease to exist. No warning, no real pattern either. I suspect there is some kind of driver behind it, but I haven't identified what that is. It hasn't happened to me yet. Unless I'm misremembering something, I might be the only one it hasn't happened to yet.
I can see why Neve assigned me to this little group. You could be down men at random and not even have a warning or anything, and it could pose quite a bit of problem to your missions, be they combat or not.
Yes, the tactical deficiency is rather obvious.
Hmm.
Regardless, you have your pick of the rooms. I've been bunked up with Vaku since basically we've been on the ship. There's an entirely empty room, if you want that.
I think for now I will take the empty room.
It's all
Just
yours.
to keep my distance. Thank
All
you.
yours,
I appreciate the combination.
at least until Lankos comes back.
And she's going to ask another question. This Zacharias individual, is he a noble by chance?
He is.
I figured. I might want to have a conversation with him soon.
He's House Baldor, Stenham family.
I see. Okay.
Also a Dominion house, so I'd imagine you two would get along.
Yep. That is indeed a Dominion house. So, yeah, I think I'll make his acquaintance sometime. Right now, I just want to get settled in. Don't know how much time we'll be spending in this ship, but just in case.
I imagine it won't be too long of a trip, but I figured while we had the opportunity, I'd show you what the arrangements were.
Oh, thank you, 447. I appreciate that.
Right.
She's just gonna sort of make herself comfortable in this lone room.
So, as you all do so, a small communique appears over the comm speakers, a little bit crisper than the previous ones. It seems they've gotten these replaced due to their age and simplicity. And a simple female voice comes over the comm saying, "We will be departing in about 5 minutes, so please make yourself comfortable. The journey should be 15 minutes at most."
I guess I will, I'll go sit somewhere near the fucking airlock so that I'll be ready to depart as soon as we arrive.
I guess Yarich will be, once he's unable to work on it because of the rumble of the place, he's going to go to the little waiting area and just kind of...
Though, before I do go to the airlocks, I'm actually going to pop into my bunk real quick, and I'm going to stow away the gift your reach gave me earlier. It's probably the best place for it.
Fair enough. You go ahead and slide it underneath the mattress, I assume, or there are drawers kind of built into the bed, so you could pull one.
Yeah, I'll put it in one of the drawers in the bed, because if I put it under the mattress, I'd probably crush it when I went to sleep.
Shit, no kidding.
So yeah, it's going in a drawer for now.
Jaira, you are getting used to your own accommodations, the bunk?
That is correct.
Alright, as we begin to take off. So, you get settled down, pulling out the drawers, getting your own personal affairs tucked away and sorted, just because this will be your home away from home whenever things actually come to resting times. And as the minutes begin to tick by, there is this growing feeling of unease. You're not certain what it is.
We all feel this?
No, just Jaira.
He just kind of gets a little agitated. She starts fiddling with her setup, changing things around that she had just put in there. Sort of not sure what to make of it.
So, there is, for most spellcasters, a very innate, minor sense of magical auras. Especially for technomancers of your variety who can view the weave at a moment's notice. This feeling of unease. You feel... It's almost likened to being in a great ocean. The weave of magic around you is something that you can conjure and pull from at any given moment. And it is very typically a calm or naturally flowing thing. Something that you can draw on, something that is stable for most part, or for the most part. But for you, you feel the uncomfortable, artificial waves in this great ocean. Something large is swimming through this great ocean of magic. And you feel a looming large presence, something swimming underneath the skin of reality, underneath your feet.
She kind of just, she has a hunch of what she thinks.
I cannot understand you.
Let me switch
Dude, your mic is fucked.
Let me switch to my computer so you can understand. A second.
Can you guys hear me?
That's
Wow.
better, but there's a fucking crazy buzz whenever you talk.
Man.
Is this better?
No.
I'm not sure what to do about that. Let me plug my mic back
Maybe
in.
turn your gain down a little.
Is this better or is it still bad?
That's
Better?
better. Yeah.
Not great, but serviceable.
Yeah, I think that'll work.
What were you saying?
Soon, but Jaira has a hunch at what she's sensing, and she's kind of just gonna get down on the floor, cross her legs, upright stance, go into sort of something she hasn't done in a very long time, which is sort of a meditative pose. What check can I make to see if she can identify what is causing this?
First of all, being a spellcaster, you need direct vision to the magical auras, so you would have to cast Detect Magic.
Ooh, I don't think I have that.
I believe you do. It should be a 0 level. It's a cantrip.
Checking.
You do.
Okay, I'm gonna cast that.
So you go ahead and quickly mutter to yourself a quick incantation and begin to watch the room around you shift and depart, slithering away from its mortal coil, opening your metaphorical third eye to the weave around you. And you see what exactly it is that is swimming here. Long tendrils, kind of like... If you've ever seen creatures that live deep underwater, how they have those thin, almost web-like things following them, like long trails. It is long, coiling black things following along the wake of this mass that is swimming in almost a spiral pattern. Several almost undescribable limbs just kind of coiling out into the ether and swimming about. And it's, well, for lack of a better term, head kind of turns over to your general periphery, and you see 1 set, 2 sets, 3 sets of eyes begin to open, each of them a stark contrast white, as this vision quickly changes and flows, the different magics kind of disrupting the weave around you. And you see this thing quickly go from one described shape into another one, something that is in between stages, something that cannot be described by mortal eyes, before walking out from that coiling mass of stuff as a singular figure made of darkness. Before it too sits a hand down on the floor and goes cross-legged in front of you.
Does Jaira know that this is Aspect?
Maybe. You're not really certain what it could be, but it very possibly could be something like that.
Could I make
And you
a
hear
check?
cutting through the weave, speaking to you directly through this form of telepathy. Well, if it isn't the know-it-all.
I don't believe we've met. You sound like you know of me.
I know of you. I also know the lies that you've been feeding to my friends.
And what lies would those be?
Telling them that I'm dangerous. A super weapon from a far past.
I believe I called you a super weapon that has great power over life and death. Is that not true? True? What?
I would prefer it if we did not look into my past. What I am doesn't matter anymore. Okay?
Jaira's,
please,
Jaira's
stop-
definitely containing fear right now.
Stop spreading rumors about me. I'm trying to build trust.
Why do you avert your... Why do you not want them to know about your past? Why do you not want me to know about your past? Is there something you're hiding?
At which point, this thing disappears from the form of a human and spreads into coils that just kind of flow in all different directions, simultaneously turning from this figure into another shape, formless and mass. Eyes begin to open on different portions of its body. What I am doesn't matter. I am not what I was before. I don't know what I was before. Does it really matter? Does the past really matter?
Well, I would think so. Look, I can't speak for the others, but if I'm going to be involved with them, then I would very much like to know what you are, what your past is. Call it building trust.
At which point, all of the tendrils begin to whip away into a space disclosed from sight. You lose track of Aspect, and you hear from behind you, what I am is who I want to be. Do you turn around to try and face it?
She's going to take a deep breath, sort of close her eyes in this sort of environment, take a deep breath, trying to calm herself, and she's going to turn around to face Aspect.
You turn around and see nothing. And once again you hear from behind you, and what I want to be is my decision, and my decision alone. You feel the stirring of the weave, the large fish. Consider yourself lucky. Disappear and fade, and you feel the heartbeat that had risen in your chest still is set. But whatever this thing is, has decided to stop occupying this presence. The large fish, the presence, is swimming away.
Jaira's gonna kind of snap out of her meditation pose, sort of hobble across the room, a little bit stunned, and just try to get control of herself. She can't speak at this point. Her sort of noble, put-together mask shattered for a moment. She takes another one of her deep breaths and just goes, fuck. She suspects that she's been infected, but she doesn't know. And just sort of a fear and anxiety about her own goals and how it might change now that she's been set with this party and possibly infected. Just kind of, this anxiety just swells in her chest.
So, you get up, and there is a mirror in each of these cots. And as you get up, You see what appears to be a coiling mass of shadow in the form of a humanoid in the corner of the room, at which point you quickly snap over in a moment instinctive decision and find nothing there. Something is definitely off now. Whatever feelings of comfort you had before being with this party is now beginning to drain.
She just kind of murmurs to herself, fantastic. The first thing I've done is angered it.
So, with that, the ship makes its way off of the landing dock and the platform, rising up. A very large, heady carrier making its way into the depths of the crucible. You all have to endure just kind of the washing tides, the way that the deck rocks and leans as the dropship kind of takes sudden curves and continues on its way. About 10 minutes pass, and you get a vocal reminder that you are about 5 minutes from your destination from the same individual who's probably resting in the bridge. At which point, another 5 minutes pass in uneary silence.
As I said, I am waiting near the airlock for us to arrive.
The party all gets set up within the hangar area, and the voice once again remarks that we're about 30 seconds ETA until we can drop you.
It is very clear, and this is kind of surprising considering she's a dark-skinned individual, that she looks pretty pale right now.
I'm gonna look up. We're all like in the same area now, I'd assume, getting ready to actually drop. I'm gonna look up towards Jaira and comment the old cliche, looks like you've seen a ghost.
I don't know if I'd call it a ghost. Let's just say that I've seen it, and it's not happy. She doesn't even look at 447 as she says this. She just keeps her eyes caged forward.
Fair enough.
Never know an aspect to get pissed off.
She just kind of shifts uncomfortably.
At which point the voice cuts back in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And to part with you all, the doors begin to hiss open, and you feel the air being drawn in because the ship is very much still moving and it's almost threatening to suck you all out. Like Neve said, good luck and good hunting.
Yari
All right,
heads
I
out
will
with his
step
case.
off the ramp and make landfall.
You
I
will
will
step
ramp
off into
as well.
a abandoned section of platform, currently within the residential district and the recreation areas. This space appears to be a cleared off parking lot, and if the dropship were to settle down, it would crush vehicles.
Oh yeah.
So you all essentially have to get off of the boarding ramp into a maybe about a 5, 6, 7 foot drop down onto the surface, this asphalt building material.
Nothing I'm not
Yari
used to.
just gonna gently lower the case down with some rope so that it doesn't accidentally shatter anything, even though it's completely.
You know, it might be a little
Foam.
easier if you let one of us jump off first, then we'll help you lower the fucking case.
Of course, of course.
So I will assist your reach in getting his case down without fucking tossing it 6 feet.
Alrighty, you go ahead and do so. Getting everybody off of the dropship, the ramps click back into place, and you hear the roaring of the engines picking back up as it is beginning to ascend and disappear off.
As the dropship is leaving and Eurisha and I get the case settled, this your friend? The drone, I mean?
Oh, no. Yari's nodded his head at first before shaking his head no. That's the case with the mothball in it.
Right. Don't know why I thought you'd bring your salvage drone with you. Just figured it was in character at this point.
Oh, the drone's still on the ship. I didn't think we would need to salvage anything.
You're probably right. I was just making assumptions based on your character. Which
I
probably shouldn't do.
like to salvage things, but we have to focus on this first.
That's a good
Then maybe.
attitude. Alright. Let's head up to the Serpent's Fang and do some asking around.
Alright. Go.
So, following the indicators and the maps that you've been given, these clear identifiers of where this club is, you head off from this parking lot about on a 10 or so minute walk until eventually you round the corner and you do see multicolored lights and districts showing off distinct advertisements with their own places. The place that you are going for, in fact, has a very stylized, it is essentially a billboard mounted on the front of this high-rise tower, which the bottom floor seems to have windows that are flashing with luminous pink light, and the billboard itself has the mouth of two serpents with their fangs coming down and biting onto the sign with their fangs, injecting a drop. Very stereotypical, like, rattlesnake faces, a cobra, and whatever. It is definitely a place that kind of prides itself on its appearance, and there is a flood of individuals. Some of them pretty well kept, other ones very low down and gangster looking, and there are two very large bouncers out front, alien in physique, you notice, just kind of watching and monitoring everybody that's coming in and stopping individuals who definitely don't meet the clearance.
Huh. Definitely looks like the kind that Joint Cell might like. You know, if he were still around.
So, how is the Deathless? How are the Deathless going to get into the Serpent's Fang?
Well, look, I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but I don't exactly ring underworld charm.
Nor do I.
I don't
I
really
may have
think
made
any of us,
them.
aside from Vaku, look particularly scruffy.
Yeah.
Point is, we're gonna need someone to do the talking to get us in there.
I can certainly talk. Doesn't mean I can always talk well, but I can talk.
I have a bit of jib.
Last time you tried jibbing, you flirted on the guard.
We don't talk about that.
Just make sure you have a good meal before you have to do any negotiations, Vaku. You're not you when you're hungry. At least I'd assume so.
No, that was very much him.
Shows you how much I know.
So, how are you all getting in?
Figured I'd try talking my way in. Mix things up a
Let's
little.
move
Alrighty,
as
so
an
the
entourage.
party follows with Vaku at the head. You all part your way into the crowd. Are you forcing your way in, or are you, like, just waiting your turn?
Let's not cause too much of a ruckus.
Yeah, just gonna like bide my time. Just kind
Let's
of
just take this
slowly get
slow
in.
and easy here.
Yeah.
You wait your time, about maybe a 20-minute wait. There's quite a lot of people that want to get into this place, until eventually you get to the front of the line with a crowd at your back, all of you kind of in a circle formation. Whenever you are confronted by one of these very large bouncers, they're wearing a half helmet that covers essentially the top of their head and like their skull, but leaves the nose and the mouth exposed, and you see two bony horns jutting out of the bottom of the jaw, and this thing is like ripped. It is built like a brick and is larger than most of the party. And as soon as you approach it, it just kind of puts up one of its meaty fists and goes, "Stop."
Yeah,
Buddy.
we're waiting.
You will
Just here to have a good
reservation.
time.
We made plans for a business opportunity a while back.
Yeah, we have a business meeting here. If you could so kindly let us in, that'd be great.
And what's your name?
Chansey.
Go ahead and make a bluff check.
All right.
So, he kind of gives you a nod and looks on his data slate, using one of his fat fingers and rolling through the guest lists. I don't see you on here. You said you made reservations? A business meeting?
Yeah.
This is going great.
We were going to show off our new product. Yari just go and open the case and show off one of the vials.
He closes the data slate and puts it back on the pedestal, which also conveniently has a drink resting on it. And he takes both of his arms and curls them into like tight knots as he crosses his arms. And it's just kind of like looking over the drugs. So what, you're here on drug business?
Yes.
Yes.
Familiar with Ulton at all?
We kind of got...
With what?
Ulton.
What?
Coolton?
Ulton.
Is that
Wait, so you
something I'm
said that
supposed to be familiar with?
Got a character.
Yes,
So you said that like the orc bouncer kind of just put his drink, kind of put like his data pad on like a drink or something.
Wait a second, are you talking about Alton?
Yeah.
If you're really on drug business, he kind of like looks over. Tell you what, give me one of the vials, I'll let you in.
Yari hands over one of the vials.
He takes it, uncorks it, pours it into his drink, and then drinks the whole thing.
Oh.
What happens to this man, Levi?
He sets it down and just kind of waits for a few seconds. It's got a weird citrus tang to it. Either that or I got a fucking orange drink. I don't really remember. I just told the barkeeper whatever was heady. You see that he takes a deep breath in.
And then doesn't exhale.
Well, when does it kick in?
Good question.
I give it a few minutes. Can be a little slow acting.
It was initially designed for injection, not consumption.
If you would be able to see him blink a couple of times, he would blink a couple of times, but his helmet is keeping him from doing that.
You'll just have a lesser effect seeing as you drink it.
At which point, he turns over towards nothing in particular and goes, "Hey, you stop." And he starts walking over towards, like, basically nothing.
Oh my god!
I told you to fucking stop. Hold your horses, motherfucker. And the other bodyguard is, like, looking over and going, what?
Lead the way. I say to
At which
Baku.
point, the rest of the party, you all enter the
bail.
Serpent's
Yeah,
Den.
we're slipping in.
Slip in.
Yep. Ulton, Alton.
So,
I'm not good with these names.
as you all enter, feel free to adjust the volume for the recording because I'm not certain how loud it'll be. But you hear the music of the nightclub begin. So, you all enter into this space.
Ezekiel 3:19?
Yeah, whatever. And find yourself crowding around what is essentially a center of debauchery in a city of industrial fucking monotony. This is the place that people go for when they've essentially had enough of this boring life and they want a taste of something that is beyond normal. And as you all slip into the crowd, all of the various holographic platforms displaying various things too interesting to describe. You make your way through the crowds as various people are basically just kind of like fucking partying. There are individuals that are drinking until they fucking fall over. There are people kind of like sitting around at tables and keeping a careful eye. There are individuals that are kind of in like the central ring of this plaza that are all in this big fucking uproar, and they're all basically dancing and getting their fucking, they're getting their fill of this place.
I literally have never been in an environment like this ever before in my entire life. I am attempting to fucking not have sensory overload.
Yeah, it is
But
like
if you do warn the wicked person and they do not turn from their wickedness or from their evil ways, they will die from their sin, but you will have saved yourself. Ezekiel 3:19.
God.
Weird.
Yeah.
So, you all make your way. So if you all are looking for Mr. Devombra, give me perception checks.
Let's do it.
But yeah, it goes hard.
Perception.
Hey, not bad, Adam.
Where's my perception? There it is.
There's mine.
I imagine as you all make your way kind of like into the entrance in the lobby of this place, like a cinematic movie, it sweeps over the entire area, going by each of these like holographic dancers, going all the way to the end, where a throne is assembled at the far end of the plaza, and you see what appears to be a drow in a fine suit kicking one leg up over his other and kind of smiling to himself.
Huh. You don't see one of them every day.
Most exquisite.
That you don't.
Didn't you have one among your number before I joined?
Yeah, was talking about him earlier. Said this might have been Sal's kind of place. Given the kind of company it looks like there's at the top, guess I wasn't wrong.
So
as I'm fucking looking around at all the fucking holographic dancers and fucking flashing lights and pounding music, I'm gonna kind of shake my head a little to like kind of clear my head. How the hell do people put up with this shit?
Some people enjoy it. I, for one, do not. As he, like, Carson is the one making the opening in the crowd.
Yeah.
So as you move into the central plaza where all of the dancing is going on, like around these stages, you basically kind of like duck down these steps and walk right into a plume of mist that is surrounding these people. And as you part the crowd and the rest of you all are basically just kind of moving in, I would like all of you guys to make fortitude saves.
Ah, excellent.
Uh-oh.
It's okay, fortitude is my best one. Ah, wow. Ooh, that's a roll.
Hey, nat 20!
There you go. So, as all of you guys begin to make your way through, just kind of parting through, like, not even excusing yourself, but making the silent presence known as you are going through the dancers, 447, it's too much. The lights, the smells, it is going through your rebreather in your helmet. There's no seal on this thing.
Yeah, it is not hermetically sealed. That's been established.
You are basically inhaling this mist and feel your head going fuzzy. You're not certain what's going on. You kind of start to break from the crowd and just get hit in the face with one of these like bright holographic images. And it's just kind of like overwhelming in its intensity. You are drugged.
Ah!
That being
Fantastic!
said, the rest of the party pulls you along. So you all continue to march kind of with the reassurance that you'll be fine once you get out of this fucking drug cloud.
I had the best fortitude save at the party and I get fucking drugged. God damn it.
You're just not used to this amount of partying.
Clearly. I'm not used to any amount of partying.
There wasn't a rule book on it.
Yeah, it was not in the fucking handbook.
It's not to regulate.
That is not. Yeah, I was about to say that exact fucking thing.
This is not regulated in any sort of way.
If you can, I would like you to go ahead and make a fortitude save.
Me again?
Yes.
Alright, let's do it. Hopefully I have better luck this time.
Oh man.
Wow! Slightly better luck. I rolled one higher!
So,
We're going!
just kind of inhaling this stuff, you feel your senses begin to kind of just deaden a bit, and there's something pleasant about this cloudy sensation. Not certain what it is. You
Alright.
make your way through the cloud.
I don't like that, Levi.
Out of this area, you all kind of emerge, climbing up out of the dancing arena, essentially, and make your way over to this secluded section, this almost a VIP quarters, which is guarded by more of these hulking brutes that are just kind of chilling out amidst this droning music. Some of them are just keeping a careful eye, the others are accepting drinks and winks from the rest of the populace. And you all see Mr. Devambra just kind of ruling over it all up on his throne. So you all approach the bodyguards to get into the VIP section.
Yeah, I guess so. Me fucking stumbling over my own feet the whole time.
Yeah, don't mind him. He's having a little bit of fun.
So are you just gonna try and...
This is not my idea of fun.
So as you all just try to walk into the VIP area, this large brute of a man, similar species to the others. And those of you that wish can give me this would be a life science check.
I do not have.
Oh, absolutely.
I can give it.
That's good.
Yarich, you realize that this is an orc. However, this isn't just a normal orc. There are rumors of very, very diverse populaces of genetically mutated orc species that exist within the Tenebrous Dominion. These are called brutes. They are much larger, rigid, they have bony structures that protect their internal organs, and they are known for an even more aggressive nature than typical orcs are.
And orcs are already aggressive.
Already. So this one puts out one of his arms, which is kind of like scaled with the occasional bone jut. Where do you think you're going?
Well,
Vaku.
I'm waiting for a response. Where do you think you're going?
I am on cloud fucking 9 right now.
We're going to our business meeting.
Business meeting with what?
With the boss.
Oh,
For
Ultron.
new drugs.
I'll be the fucking judge of that. What kind of meeting?
Like I said, it's a business meeting.
We are here to show off our new product.
Yeah, we got a new
Make
product.
a diplomacy check.
Aku?
That's good.
He just kind of like curls his lip just a little bit, and he almost looks a little bit angry over the fact that you've just come in here with some extra business, as if that ruins his night somehow personally. At which point, he pulls up and simply puts a hand on the side of his head and goes, Alton, somebody down in the crowd wants to see you. Something about business. And you hear the chirp over, and almost this sort of melodic, "Oh, really? Someone's come to visit me? Well, tell them to have their fun at the dances, but I am currently unavailable." At which point, he kind of takes his finger off at the side of his head, looks over to the rest of you and goes, "Anything specific?"
We wanted to show off our new narcotic. Mothball.
Mothball.
The way that you say that,
Mothball.
he clicks back on the comm. Look, Alton, these people are really persistent about this. They got something called Mothball they want to show off. At which point, you hear kind of like a chuckle, and you realize that it's not being broadcast over his comm. You can hear Alton laughing from his throne above you.
I kind of whirl around in my drugged state, hearing laughter all around me. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, dude, 447, as you look around and, like, hear the laughter, it is echoing from all portions of your mind in all directions. And you look into the crowd and see just a horde of blue snake eyes looking at you for a second.
Holy shit!
Oh,
We need to get the fuck out of here.
oh.
Just pulls out his assault rifle and collects the bolt.
I'm not going that far yet. Yet.
You're only partially schizo.
Yes.
So, it's then that you hear the comm click back on and say, "Why didn't you say so? Send them right up." At which point, takes his finger off and goes, "Alright, you're clear to go, but I'm watching you." You
All right,
all
thank you.
proceed. It is essentially a staircase that leads up to this area. And as you ascend upwards, you see more and more guards just kind of filling this space. You make it up to the second platform, another set of stairs kind of curling. Instead of straight forward, it's to the right. And then as you made it up to this spot, you see one of the guards just kind of stopping. This one is actually human, lady, believe it or not, working in this place. She kind of puts out a hand and goes, "Now, this is the third time you probably heard this tonight. Stop. Need to scan you for anything weird."
How would you get that number exactly right? 3 times, you knew.
You see the blue snake eyes on this one, too. At which point, she pulls out a scanner and just starts basically going through each of you.
Yarish doesn't have anything on him other than his personal
Oh, I'm
pad
pretty openly
and
carrying
his-
my weapon. It's like slung over my back. Like, unless something happened outside that, like, prompted me to fucking stow it away.
At which point, this thing does go off very, very clearly at the mention of these weapons. This person kind of brings down the scanner and goes, "You cannot bring weapons to see Mr. Devambra."
Yarish nods and hands over his weapon for now.
Just set him off in the corner. You can pick him up on your way out.
Yeah.
Buck's gonna try to hide his
They're not
weapons.
going to be tampered with.
I'm not gonna fucking touch him. Put your weapons down.
Jaira reluctantly
I
takes her.
am staring into this woman's eyes. Why do they look like that?
I'm going to try to hide my weapons, and I just rolled a nat 20, so...
At which point, whilst Vaku is like slipping his equipment entirely, basically you're handing over the quarterstaff, right? You're slipping the laser pistol further into your clothing, just kind of hiding it amidst the plumage and cloth.
Yeah.
And at that
Yeah.
point, this guard draws a weapon, a pistol of her own, a hand cannon, and points it right at 447's face. I'm not going to repeat myself a second time. Put the fucking weapons down.
You think that'll kill me?
The rest of the guards start to pull out their weapons and turn around. They are clearly drawn by this action.
Carthen's gentle hand lands on 447's armor.
This again.
The eyes.
So I look into Carthen. Does he have the blue eyes too?
Carthen, make a diplomacy check.
A diplomacy check. I will most certainly try.
You look at Carthen, and you see the same eyes of your trusted companion.
You think it'll be alright?
I think we'll be all right. Carthen says with a smile as he
we'll
turns
be
his
fine.
graviton pistol
Just-
around and hands it off.
Alright, if you say so.
Yeah, they put it on a... Basically, they've got this small set of open, like, lockers. Have you ever seen those slots that'd be more fit for, like, a cane or something. Just kind of little weapon racks ready for you guys to just put them
Yeah.
down.
So seeing that Carthan is not drugged, or at least doesn't appear drugged to me, I am going to follow his advice and relinquish my weapons.
And you will pass through this checkpoint one after one until eventually it gets to Vaku, and the sensor passes over, just kind of picking up for anything in particular before... Yeah, he's clean. And you all enter into this small private area. The music kind of dies down just a little bit, and you get a sense that there's something expensive going on here, so that the boss of this place doesn't have to hear the roaring beat every time that he wants to look over this place. There's some kind of like sonic dispersal system lessening the effect just a moment. And you walk over to this space and find that the throne, cornered by two individuals, swivels on its own, and Devambra, kind of like one leg put over the other, one arm on his knee, the other arm on the arm of his throne, with his hand reaching up and caressing his chin, is just smirking at all of you. And that will be the end of tonight's session.
Oh shit.
We cooked.
We cooked,
We cooked.
bitch.
We cooked. 447 got drugged.
Yup.
An excellent time was had by all.
Even though I have a fortitude of +8 and was least likely to fall victim to this, I was the one who fell victim to this.
The gentle hand of Carthan Opel.
Yes, the guiding hand.
His guiding hands, the sorcerer supreme.
The smooth jib of Vaku.
Also, like, Carthan gave away his pistol. His spark is still with him.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's very obvious.
Still got my guns, still got my whip. Everything's fine.
So at least if 447 like continues to skits out.
Look, I don't know
turns into
exactly what effects this drug are supposed to have, so I just fucking roleplayed him tripping out of his mind.
Hell yeah.
Fair assumption.
This is good.